it's a battle for first place in the AFC West. The Broncos and the Raiders are both 9-4, and for Denver, the home field has been an advantage. Those two losses in 3 years, one by 3 points to Seattle, another by 4 this year to Miami. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. Welcome. You can just feel the intensity in this Mile High City.
Dick, this is a rivalry charged with bad feelings and bad blood. The other thing you hear talk of here is playoffs. Even with there are 3 games left in the season, players, coaches, fans alike are talking about this as a playoff game. You know what? They're right.
Indeed they are. And they're getting ready for the kickoff. And the Raiders have won. The toss will receive first. The weather. We hear that it is snowing just 20 miles away from here, although the conditions at the moment here on the field are perfect.
The last 4 meetings between these 3 teams, very, very close. 3 points or less. 2 of those games have gone to overtime. You saw Tom Flores on his sideline. There is Dan Reeves. Both of these men know the importance of this game today.
The earlier game in the Coliseum in Los Angeles, Chris Barr missed the field goal late. It went into overtime, and then Barr kicked the field goal as the Raiders took the kickoff in the sudden death overtime and marched it in for a quick score by Barr. And therefore they are 1 leg up on the Broncos, although both are 9-4. Carlos delivers a high end-over-end kick to Kenny King, and the Raiders won't run it out, and that's good news for Denver. Carlos has not been kicking off well, and that time he roots it to the back line of the end zone. Mark Wilson will bring the offense of the Raiders on the field, and Wilson is 8-2 as a starter. He has Mose Barr at center, Hannah and Marvin at guards, Bruce Davis and Henry Lawrence at the tackles. Jesse Hester, the top draft pick of the Raiders, at 1 wide out, with Dokie Williams having a good year at the other. The leading receiver, tight end Todd Christensen. The leading rusher in the NFL, Marcus Allen, with Frank Hawkins, the blocker, behind Wilson. They start from the Raider 20. That's Hester in motion. Hawkins gets the carry as the decoy and gains 3 into that orange jersey Denver defense. And they're led today by Barney Chavis, the veteran from South Carolina State, who is playing in his 180th game as a Bronco. That's a Denver record, breaking the tie with Billy Thompson. Chavis there at 1 defensive end. Reuben Carter on the nose. Rulon Jones, tough pass rusher. Tom Jackson, Steve Busick, Carl Mecklenburg, Jim Ryan, the linebackers. Harden and Wright at the corners. Foley and Smith at safety. 2nd and 7. Wilson's first throw complete to Todd Christensen right at the 30-yard line. Maybe a first down. It is. Dennis Smith with a tackle. Todd Christensen, the most productive of the NFL tight ends. 68 catches coming in.
This Denver defense will employ Carl Mecklenburg, number 77. You'll see him all over the field today. They've used him already at 2 positions. They've been on the field for 2 plays.
There are 7 letters in the name Mecklenburg and 11 positions. He played 7 of those last week, and Merlin will be chronicling just how busy a man he is. He's all over the field and was a 4-sack man, forced 2 fumbles last week, leads the club with 5. Marcus Allen reversing his field. That's where he's tough. He picks up a gain of about 6. And Dan Reeves talked about that yesterday, Merlin. We've got to stop him on the backside. Where he really hurts you is if you over pursue and then he cuts back against all that pursuit, breaks it open.
He has such great awareness and such control as a runner. He always seems to have a sense of where the opening is, and then he has the ability to get himself into position to take advantage of that opportunity.
Allen's first carry worth 6 yards at 2nd and 4. To the 39, where it'll be 3rd and 1. Steve Busick in the middle of the Denver defense with a tackle. Former teammate of Marcus Allen in Southern California.
The Broncos employing a 4-man defensive line so far in this ball game. That's something they did all week last week against Pittsburgh. It worked very effectively.
After you beat up on the Raiders, says Busick, you feel like you beat up on the bully on the block. There's a lot of feeling involved in this one. 3rd and inches. Fumble! And Wilson covers it, but that will deny the Raiders a first down, and the fans love it.
Barney Chavis, they call him Methuselah. You saw that gray hair. He earned most of that.
Never had surgery in 13 years of pro ball. He's really kept himself in good condition. Of course, been lucky too. Ray Guy. He's kicked for miles in the NFL. Pressure on, and he just gets it away, and down he goes. No flag. Fumble by Vance Johnson, and he recovers at the 22. You could see that in the warm-ups. Boy, the men, both the receivers, kick returners, all having trouble handling the ball.
Let's take a quick peek to see what happened here. Nobody called the penalty here. Maybe what they're saying is that someone was blocked. Well, it looks to me like that one should have been called. There's no question that they hit Guy, and yet the official said no penalty on it.
There was one Bronco running into the other. The Denver offense has Bryan at center, Howard and Bishop at guard, Lanier and Studdard are the tackles, Kay and Wright a double tight end with Watson leading receiver, Vance Johnson a brilliant rookie, Winder the lone back behind John Elway. Elway having a superb season. It's Winder. Across the 25-yard line, a gain of about 3 into the white jerseyed Raider defense, minus Lyle Alzado. Howie Long, a true all-pro, Piquel on the nose, and Sean Jones replacing Alzado out for the year, Achilles injury. Van Pelt, Millen, McKenzie the rookie, Martin the leading tackler at the linebacking posts, Hayes and Haynes, that troublesome corner pair. McElroy's been out for 2 weeks, returns at safety. Stacy Turan at the other spot for the injured Mike Davis. 2nd and 7. Winder again. Short yardage to the 29-yard line. Just underway here in Denver in a crucial game. Now let's go to NFL 85, Bob Costas.
Dick, it's a 5-touchdown day for Dan Marino. Dan Johnson is on the receiving end of what turns out to be a 61-yard score. The Dolphins now lead the Packers with less than 2 minutes to play at Green Bay, 34-24. It looks like 3 teams will be 10-4 in the AFC East.
And that for the fans of these 2 teams in the West, also 9-4. I mean, somebody here will go home 9-5. The East not making it easy on the West in the American Conference. 3rd down 4. Watson in motion, and a whistle. Too much time by Elway. That'll cost the Broncos 5. Dan Marino, you just heard about his exploits in the cold of Green Bay, leading the Dolphins. But Elway, and with all the publicity given Marino, Elway has been right on his heels in success, the real success figures, and that's how many you win and how many you lose.
The other thing that people notice and talk about is John Elway getting more comfortable, more relaxed on the football field. It's showing in the way he plays.
3rd and 9, first time out of the shotgun for the Broncos. 3 receivers to the left. Elway. Complete. Vance Johnson at the 39. First down. 15 yards for the rookie from Arizona.
Vance Johnson lines up outside with Watson, and they're doing a little screening there, trying to break free. Sammy Seal, number 43, the man working there on Johnson. And Elway had to anticipate. He was under pressure, had to anticipate that break. Did a good job of getting that ball in the hands of Johnson.
3rd down and 9, and Elway converts the first down. Now back to the ground. Winder pays for a couple of yards.
Sammy Winder returned to the lineup last week, just 12 days after he'd had surgery on his knee. And they didn't want him to have to play, but because of injuries to Wilhite and also to Lang, who's now off the roster, Winder came in and virtually played the whole game out of position. They played 2 backs last week, knowing that their short of backs had gone to a 1-back setup, and that puts a great deal of pressure on Sammy Winder.
Only 2 healthy backs, Winder and Steve Sewell, the rookie from Oklahoma. Nathan Poole was signed earlier this week. He has not played football for 2 years. A draw to Winder doesn't fool Sean Jones, big number 99. And it's a gain of only a yard.
The big players, the game breakers, and there is John Elway. No question, he's the main man for these Denver Broncos.
He's accounted for 3,000 yards exactly passing, plus 238 rushing. He gets 204, almost 250 yards a game. Marcus Allen, leading rusher in the NFL, he accounts for 146 yards a game.
We'll keep track of these 2 during the ball game itself. There's Marcus Allen on the sideline. He's the guy that The Raiders want to have the ball in the hands of. He breaks it open for them.
3rd and 8 from the shotgun. Long appeared to be offside. Elway has a free play and guns it for a first down. Or close to it. Now they're going to mark it shy of the 50. Only 8 yards for Clint Sampson.
Going to be kind of a tough decision to make here. The officials warning Sammy Seal, number 43, to stay off on the play. We're going to see a lot of people jaw to jaw. These two teams charged with emotion, not only because of the importance of the game, but also because of the intensity of this rivalry. A lot of voices out there on the field.
75, 3rd down.
Long trying to get an early jump.
That's a bit embarrassing.
And so the Broncos, seeing that there had been 4th and 1 on the completed pass, will take the 5 yards and save the down. The ball moved out to the 47, where it'll be 3rd and 3 for Elway. Didn't you like to play in games like this, knowing so much was on the line, and both teams reflected that this weekend?
You pray at the beginning of the season that you've got this kind of shot. Both these teams have it. Now they both want the opportunity to convert it to a victory.
Raiders have 9 men on the line of scrimmage. Elway's going to scramble. He's the leading rusher among quarterbacks in the NFL, and he struggles to a first down.
John Elway's mobility brings an extra dimension to this Denver Bronco offense. He almost fumbled that snap. We saw a fumble from Wilson earlier. Look at this. He knows what yardage he needs. With the rush coming, he simply goes one-on-one on 56 Jeff Barnes and lunges across that line and just barely picks up that first down.
Needed 3, got 3.5. Ball in Raider territory. 6:44 left. First quarter, no score. Play action and roll by Elway. Wide open is Kay, the tight end. And he rams to the 39. It looks to be another first down. They may have to measure for this one. No, says Fred Ryan. It is a first down. The Bears win their 13th, 17-10 over the Colts. Many of you saw that game earlier here on NBC. New England goes to 10-4. Washington, a struggle, wins at Philadelphia. Other finals, Cincinnati, and the biggest surprise of the day, bombing Dallas. And St. Louis has defeated New Orleans. We'll give you that other score in a moment. It's first down, Denver. Winder. And the Broncos aren't getting much on the ground against that Raider defense. Give Winder a short 4.
One of the reasons that they continue to run, and you might ask, well, they're doing so much better in the air, why do they continue to run? They want to force the Raiders to prepare to stop the run, even though it has not been highly effective. If they once give up on the running game, the Raiders can play a whole different style of rushing, aggressive defense against the pass game.
That other score that we just saw briefly was the Kansas City win, 38-10 against Atlanta earlier at Arrowhead. 9th play of the drive for the Broncos. 2nd down and 6. Under pressure, Elway clears it out to Watson, who pays at the 34. We welcome those of you who have seen the Miami Dolphins and Green Bay Packers here on NBC. Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen. Mile High Stadium sold out as it has been since 1970. The Raiders in Denver, no score. The Raiders unable to move the ball. A fumble by Wilson on a snap. They had to kick it to the Broncos, who have driven from their own 23 to the Raider 33 with 4 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in a scoreless first quarter. This is 3rd and 4. Watson in motion for the Broncos. Two teams tied for first, 9-4 in the West. Elway guns it complete to Kay at the 23-yard line. Clarence Kay, seldom used, but he's been a big factor in this opening drive.
You'll be able to see from the end zone what John Elway will see as this play develops. He's got Watson across, or Kay across in motion. He's under pressure here. Right at the last second, you'll get a chance to see him turn it loose here. He sees Clarence Kay coming open there. Boy, that's a fine job of quarterbacking.
Another first down for Elway and the Broncos. The draw to Winder trying to get outside, and a good hit by Rod Martin. Martin from Southern California, a Pro Bowler, leads the Raiders in tackles again this year. That was a good play defensively. Winder had about 10 yards to the outside. Clock ticking away, 3.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. And it becomes cloudy. A beautiful day. Sunny and in the 30s at kickoff time. Very comfortable, but as we told you, there is snow 20 miles away to the west.
As the temperature drops, it's plenty cold enough to snow here, and we could well have snow before this day is out.
Elway is 4 for 4 passing as he sets up shop 2nd and 9. Going for it all. Sewell incomplete, broken up by James Davis, number 45.
Chance to look again from behind. Let's turn it loose and let John Elway drop back. You'll get a chance to see it as he does. Stop it right there now. You see how those two, how they're chasing across. Lester Hayes going all the way across with the motion man. You see the pressure coming in now on John Elway. Look how they're breaking down the cup. And yet Elway still has room in there in that cup. Turn it loose now. He stays in long enough to get that pass out of there. And right there, you've got to wonder again if that shouldn't have been a call on Sewell.
Nothing wrong with that one. Clint Sampson has 1st and goal for Denver. And Elway is 4 for 4, converting 3rd downs on this drive.
Denver has scored the last 9 times that they've been inside their opponent's 20-yard line.
And they were perfect against the Raiders in the earlier meeting, although they lost in overtime in Los Angeles. It's 1st and goal. Steve Sewell gets a block. And then the coverage is instant by the Raiders as Sewell, who is maturing as a real threat offensively, this number 1 pick out of the University of Oklahoma.
Credit penetration by number 55, Matt Millen, who did not make the tackle but got deep enough to kind of mess up Sewell's route on that. That's a little misdirection play, and Millen able to bounce his legs a little bit, slow him up. That made it impossible to do more than gain a couple of yards.
This is the 15th play of this first drive of the Broncos. 1:43 left in the quarter. Elway on the roll. Incomplete to Winder. The ball was there. Winder couldn't tuck it away.
We'll see Elway rolling out numerous times today, primarily to give himself more time. And often it will be, as in that case, a planned rollout. Watch Elway. There's no hesitation here. Just a little fake, and then he's heading out. That's a planned rollout. That's not a scramble. Getting to the outside. And that went right through the hands of Sammy Winder.
A long 5 yards on 3rd and goal for Denver. This is where Elway's been tough. 4 out of 4 on 3rd down conversions. Is he in the end zone? No signal yet. Yes, touchdown Denver. James Wright. His first of the entire season.
The Denver Broncos have not used their tight ends as much as many other teams, but they sure use them right here. 87, James Wright just lets the clearing go on. That's Clarence Kay clearing it out. Let's watch him right here and see what he does with that football. The ball has to break the plane of the goal line. He caught it right adjacent to the goal line, and they said he put the ball over.
Must have been part of the Denver game plan to use the tight ends. Clarence Kay had a couple of key catches, and then Wright gets the touchdown. Carlos the extra point, and Denver takes the early lead. So with a minute and a half left in the first quarter, Denver leads. Let's go to NFL 85.
Dick, perhaps the most surprising score of the day in Cincinnati. 3 touchdown passes for Boomer Esiason. This 58-yard beauty to Chris Collinsworth. The Bengals clobbered Dallas 50-24, and everybody celebrates, including these dignified fans.
The touchdown again right on the goal line.
You'll see Elway again just dropping back, and on the right-hand side of your picture, you'll get a feeling for what's happening here. The blitz is on. Look at that. They're coming in over the top. Stacy Turan jumping up in front of him, but Elway was able to get that ball off, and then James Wright able to fight that ball over the goal line.
Denver chewed up ground on that 16-play drive as if they were on a diet. 77 yards in 16 plays, and the key was the conversion on 3rd downs by Elway, including the touchdown play of 5 yards to Wright.
That's ball control primarily with the passing game. That's something that Dan Reeves really believes in.
Sammy Seal, Fulton Walker deep for the Raiders. Carlos hammers it again. Good kick. They won't run it out. So Carlos, who did not kick the ball inside the 5 against Pittsburgh on 6 tries last week rather, has hit 2 to the back line of the end zone today.
We talk about some players on the field as headhunters. Number 98. Hundley gets a double dose right there. Hey, they know who the headhunters are, and they're going to find him and knock him down.
If he's down for a count of 3, is the match over? They had him pinned. Impressive drive, almost 10 minutes for the Broncos to take the 7-0 lead. Jones gets him for a yard loss.
Penetration by number 77, Carl Mecklenburg. You'll see it right here. He breaks inside. Mecklenburg forces Allen then to go outside, and there's the tackle.
We welcome those of you who have seen the New York Jets and Buffalo Bills here in Denver. With a minute remaining in the first quarter, Denver leads the Raiders 7-0 in a battle for first place in the West. The winner will go 10-4 to match those 3 teams in the East that are 10-4. Mark Wilson calls time with 39 seconds left in the quarter. So from Denver in this noisy sellout crowd of 75,000, less than a minute remaining first period. Since the opening game 16 seasons ago, they've sold out here at Mile High Stadium. A fervent partisan crowd. The Broncos and the Raiders, so much importance on this game with only 2 remaining. 2nd and 11. Williams in motion. Good protection. Is it incidental? Yes. No penalty flag down as Hester became entangled with Steve Wilson. Jesse Hester.
Dick, we talked about all of the different positions that Carl Mecklenburg will play. And it's interesting to me that a young man can actually master all those positions. I said, do you have to know exactly what you have to do in each one of those assignments? He said, not only that, he said, I have to practice at each one of those positions during the week. So he has a tremendous load mentally as well as physically. He likes a cool day like this because it keeps the energy high.
So last week against Pittsburgh, he played both defensive ends, both defensive tackle positions, 3 linebacker positions. And he's right up there on the line of scrimmage now on 3rd and 11. Deep and open is Christensen, and he drops the ball. He had to make the turn. He was looking for the ball inside, had to turn outside. For a moment, that had touchdown written on it.
Todd Christensen is usually employed as a short receiver. Well, they send him long here. Dennis Smith, 49, working one-on-one. You see Christensen using his shoulder to ward away Smith. Smith still able to get there, but that ball over his head, and Christensen simply could not handle it.
Ray Guy into punt. The Broncos should come out with good field position. Vance Johnson, the rookie, is at the 35 of Denver. Short kick, end over end. Raider bounce. And down at the 40-yard line by Otis McKinney. Timeout with 16 seconds remaining in the opening period in Denver. The Broncos have a touchdown lead. Flores, when he heard the bad news that Alzado had torn an Achilles tendon and was out for the year, maybe a career-ending injury, said what we'll miss most is the spirit of the man.
He did have a way of igniting that defense. Loved to talk to the offense, too.
16 seconds left in the quarter. After the 40-yard punt, Elway goes to work. He's going for it all. But Lester Hayes is there for the Raiders with the intercept, and that's as good as a kick. He's down at the 3-yard line. Steve Watson made the tackle, and the Raiders now in the change of possession. The clock stops, 6 seconds left in the quarter. Gives us a chance to run down all the finals for you. Miami beat Green Bay 34-24. The Jets beat Buffalo 27-7.
We'll just look at the end of the play and get back to the scores. You see there that Watson's become a defensive back now, and the ball carrier was Lester Hayes.
Big upset, Cincinnati over Dallas 50-24. St. Louis defeated New Orleans 28-16. Kansas City a winner 38-10 against the Falcons. It was Chicago 17, Indianapolis 10, New England 23, Detroit 6, Washington 17, Philadelphia 12. You're right up to date. Here's 7-0 Denver. The Raiders, with just a handful of seconds left in the first quarter, start from their 3-yard line. An offense that features the NFL's top rusher, Marcus Allen, number 32. He's with Frank Hawkins, lined up in the end zone. Hawkins for about 3. And with it, the end of the first quarter here at Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado, where the score, the Broncos 7, the Raiders nothing. Howie Long is the most interesting man. There's the sensitive side and the very physical side. He said, but his real dream is to be a power forward with the Boston Celtics. He would be, the power part would fit.
He certainly has earned the respect of these Denver Broncos. In fact, I was talking to Billy Bryant, the center. He said he thinks he's the finest rusher he's ever faced. He's able to rip with both hands, right and left, and that ambidextrous ability, you can't play him to one side or the other like you would overplay a basketball player.
Collegiate boxing champion, and taught him to use those fists well. 2nd down and 7. The Raiders at their own 6. Opening the second quarter, trailing 7-0. Wilson from his own end zone. Out to Allen, the all-purpose Marcus Allen. And he's at the 14-yard line and a first down. We're going to be tracking Marcus Allen and Carl Mecklenburg.
Well, you saw that play, the little throw to the outside, exactly like a play you saw last year. But watch the end of this play. Again, this is from last year. That's Carl Mecklenburg. Mecklenburg, who's made some big hits already in this game, said he's never hit anyone as hard as that. Marcus Allen got back up and carried the ball on the next play to give you an idea of how tough he is.
He's the man that Dan Reeves said without hesitation, to win the game, we must corral Allen. He'll get some yards. We can't let him have the kind of day he had against us in Los Angeles. Here he comes. Hurdling his way to the 15. A gain of only a yard on first down. Mike Harden, number 31, along with 75, Rulon Jones. On the sidelines for the Los Angeles Raiders with his 5th shoulder operation, Jim Plunkett. And who can count this man out of any season? And I have the itch, Merlin Olsen, that this man will be activated if the Raiders get into the playoffs. But he's on the sidelines today as a cheerleader, and we have a timeout in Denver. Mike Harden played his college ball at University of Michigan, injuring his shoulder in the tackle of Marcus Allen. That is a position where the Broncos are injury thin. Defensive back Steve Wilson replaces him. 2nd down and 9 for Mark Wilson. The bomb on its way for Dokie Williams. Incomplete. It appeared to hit the helmet of Steve Foley, number 43.
One of the things you will see that is a marked difference between these two quarterbacks. Wilson on the deep passes rainbows the ball, really throws it with a high arc to it. On the other hand, Elway will gun the ball, almost throws it on a line. You'll see Wilson now, he lofts this ball. It hangs for a long time. This ball actually underthrown, but look how high he gets that ball up. Camera couldn't even follow it. You were right about hitting the helmet of Foley. Bounced right off.
3rd and 9, and the Broncos bring in their pass rush specialists, 3 extra men. It's Marcus Allen. And a flag goes down as Allen is out of bounds at the 24. That would be very close to a first down, but we may have an illegal block against the Raiders.
I think it was Jesse Hester who did some holding on that play. But Dick, they were able to get Carl Mecklenburg inside. He's rushing from an outside position on the left-hand side of your screen. Now watch him. He'll go inside of Bruce Davis, and Bruce, number 79, just pinned him inside.
Number 8,
Jones coming from the outside. They were able to, Marcus just slipped inside of the two of them, and there was the hold. You saw the flag coming right there. Number 45, Wilson, being held by Jesse Hester, number 84.
That may have cost a first down for the Raiders because Allen appeared to have the 24-yard line. That would have been good enough. Instead, it'll be 3rd down and 13. Well, the Broncos have been perfect on 3rd down, 5 for 5 in this game. The Raiders thus far 0 for 2. Wilson going to run it. And he steps out at the 22, short of the first down. 12 yards on the scramble by Mark Wilson, but not enough for first down yardage. Dennis Smith and Andre Townsend making the hit.
Mark Wilson is a good athlete, and he's not afraid to run the football. He at times is not as aware in that pocket as you like a quarterback to be, but he has run for a 4-yard average on the year and made well over that. Almost a first down, but couldn't quite pick it up.
Ray Guy comes in to punt for the Raiders, who have been very tough in allowing yardage on punt returns. Much of that due to coverage, but mostly the strong leg of Guy who roots it so high. This one's a little short. Vance Johnson at the 38 with a fair catch, and the Broncos with a lead have the ball again in good field position. We've played just over a minute of the second quarter. A 40-yard punt.
Is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. To arrange a thorough test drive, phone your nearest BMW dealer. By Coors and Coors Light, beers with a difference worth tasting. And by Curtis Mathis, a little more expensive but worth it.
Well, that's what Steve Sewell could say. A little more expensive but worth it to be in there for the Broncos, and he was unable to dent that Raider defense for much other than a couple of yards. Let's check on some other action in the NFL. Late games, Cleveland and Seattle, both teams with hopes for the playoffs, tied at 3 in the second. The Giants jump out to a 2-touchdown lead at the Astrodome. They had to be buoyed by that Dallas score, and it's Minnesota leading Tampa Bay 6-0. 2nd and 8. Denver leads here 7-0 early second quarter. Draw play to Sewell. He's got the speed to get outside, and that excites Denver fans. He picks up about 6 on that carry before Jeff Barnes can make the hit.
His teammates have been calling him Smiley, a rookie who is really starting to have an impact on this Denver offense. And you see the burst of speed right there as he gets out of sight of Greg Townsend, number 93. Finally pulled down by Barnes, number 56. It'll be 3rd and just a little over a yard here for Elway and the Bronco offense.
This is where Elway has been perfect in the game, 5 for 5. Doesn't run it. It's intercepted by the Raiders. Mike Haynes at the 50-yard line under pressure. Elway threw it away, but right into the arms of the veteran Haynes as we have some push and shove. And that was only a matter of time. LaFuse has been lit since the Raiders came to town.
You're going to have helmets locked to helmets today, and that's Rod Martin, number 53. He's been one of the verbal Raiders, and there were some words passed between he and Clarence Kay via the press this week about what they were planning on doing in this game. Martin, of course, known for his big plays, and Tom Flores wanted to keep his team from getting too high emotionally. He said, you got to play this kind of game like a shark. No emotion, just get the job done. And I think his concern early in the week was keeping his players ready for the game itself, not letting them burn themselves out.
You're saying they were ready this morning. We'll get that story right after this play. Raiders' best field position of the game on Haynes' 2nd pass interception of the season. Typical of the Raiders, they come right out looking for something big after the turnover. Whoa, what hit on Hester? Steve Wilson. And a flag is the passer. Yes. Rulon Jones hit Wilson late. That hit by Steve Wilson was clean and not a penalty, but at the other end, Wilson was hit after he threw the ball by Rulon Jones.
Costly mistake by Rulon.
Roughing the passer, number 75, first down.
Boy, I'd hate to be a wide receiver out there hanging up with my feet that far off the ground and knowing that I was going to do a spiral before I came to the ground.
It's great training to become a professional wrestler, those body slams they take.
Boy, I'll tell you. And that's his good field position. For the first time today, the Broncos are down inside of Denver territory.
Raiders indeed with a first down just inside the Denver 35. Marcus. He's a marked man, but look at the way he peels back, and he has blockers. 35, 30, and he dives to the 25. That's exactly what the Broncos feared most, that they would converge on Allen with 11 men, and suddenly there'd be no one on the backside.
The same kind of play that Allen broke for 61 yards and a touchdown in the earlier game between these two teams. They've got him. He's dead to rights. But the great backs turn that kind of play into a big play, a nothing play into a big play. You've got to have great speed to be able to make that play, and Marcus Allen can do it.
42% of the offense, the leading rusher in the NFL. The Raiders have never had a rushing champion in their years in Oakland and Los Angeles. Allen, with 3 games to go, has a good shot at it. Fighting Riggs and Payton for the honor. Frank Hawkins picks up the first down on 2nd and a yard. And the Raiders drive now close to that 20-yard line with 11 minutes, 15 seconds left in the half.
When the Raiders' running game is working, they force Denver to play a different style of defense. The Denver defensive backs and linebackers must be much more conscious of that run and therefore are more vulnerable to the pass. They would love to be able to shut down the run and then just play the passing game.
Allen corralled after a gain of about 3. Mecklenburg 77 there first.
Carl Mecklenburg, and we mentioned he is all over the field. In this particular play, he is at the left linebacker position. Christensen right there along with Mickey Marvin, number 65, trying to block on him, but he just escaped on that play.
Two of the big defensive men, big play men. Rod Martin of the Raiders has 6 sacks on the year. Mecklenburg with 12, one of the NFL leaders. A lot of that due in part their success to 2 other men we'll be talking about. Teammates who set up their plays. Play action. Christensen, first down at the 11-yard line. And the Raiders drive deeper toward that Bronco goal.
You saw Todd Christensen drop a pass earlier that was in his hands. He does not drop many, believe me. On this occasion, one of the things that makes him so tough, he will never quit on a pattern. When Wilson gets in trouble, he'll go to Todd Christensen very often.
That's his 70th of the season. Had a big game against the Falcons. Boy, has he been tough in the last 45 games as a Raider. He's caught 242 balls. I mean, he's always there. Allen into the teeth of the defense for about 3. Steve Wilson made the tackle, the son of T.D. Tommy Wilson, a Los Angeles Ram of a couple of decades ago, and he says, my dad watches my every game. He says, you know, he can coach every position. I said, he can coach every position? He said, yeah, he's my dad. That explains it all.
Dad was quite a football player too.
Wilson in there for the injured Mike Harden, who has a pinched nerve in that shoulder. The Denver Brain Trust. And Wilson calls time. He either was running out of time or didn't like the play called for the defensive set. So with 8:41 left, it's still Denver by 7.
Dick, our producer Larry Cirillo, was worried that we'd need a bigger booth today because you went skiing for the first time last weekend, and we were afraid we might have a cast on one of these lakes. You came here to Colorado. Was it fun?
Hey, when I came back to Vail, and the first time they put up one, I thought I was #1. They said you're in one piece. The betting was against that.
America
I'm converted. I'm converted.
Well, great. Feels cold enough to ski today, believe me, and I think somewhere they're doing a lot of it here in Colorado today.
Well, the Raiders trying to ski or skate into the end zone. You see, they've already spent 2 of their first half timeouts. Ball's inside the 9-yard line.
Both timeouts because of...
He's at the noisy end, the closed end of the stadium. That one's going to be out of play. Well covered was Marcus Allen. You might even say that Wilson and the Raiders are at the snowball end of Mile High Stadium. What's that on his wrist?
That's a list of plays. Now, the system that the Raiders use to get their plays onto the field is a signaling system that is keyed to plays that are listed on that wristband. You see him glancing right there at the wristband, and they'll signal a number out to him. He is responsible then for calling formation and play. There's a close-up of that wristband. You can see there's quite a list of plays on there, so they key them by series and tell him what they want him to call.
So those are numbered 1 through, say, 40, and they'll say, okay, play 33, and it's written right there on that band. On 3rd and 7, intercepted by Dennis Smith. He's going to run it out. Smith has great speed. He's all the way to the 40-yard line, out of bounds at the 38, and what a turnover for Denver.
Wilson throwing into a tough Denver defense, just gets that ball over the top of Marcus Allen's head, and a great job of flagging that ball down. Good ball reaction by Wilson.
Dennis Smith with his first interception of the season. This is Steve Sewell to the 42. It was a 40-yard return by Smith. At first I thought he was making a mistake just not taking the touchback, but Smith wanted something bigger and indeed got twice as much yardage.
Turnover is such a big part of any game, and in particular these Bronco games. You see right there they have the lead 2-1 so far in this game.
Well, that's about how they lead on the season. Denver's a +8 in the turnovers. Raiders are a -8. Sewell on 2nd and 6. Ooh, hit hard at the 44-yard line. Some of the Broncos thought that last hit was a little late. They liked Sewell when they drafted him out of Oklahoma because he reminded the Bronco scouts of Marcus Allen. His size, his speed, his ability to catch the ball. Didn't have the same kind of credentials as Marcus, a Heisman winner.
Well, I can imagine that there are about 28 teams in the NFL who would like a Marcus Allen, including the Raiders. They'd like another one to go with the one they've got.
3rd and 3. Incomplete. Watson well covered by the sticky Lester Hayes. 7-0 Denver here in the Mile High City. Let's go to NFL 85.
All right, down in Seattle, the Seahawks need a win to stay alive in the playoffs, and here David Craig goes 4 yards to Dan Ross in the corner of the end zone. The Seahawks lead at 10-3 there in the 2nd quarter.
And here in Denver, 7 minutes remain in the first half. The Broncos will have to punt for the first time. Chris Norman kicking to Fulton Walker.
Norman has had his problems kicking the football.
Last 2 weeks he's been under 40 yards in both games. This one could be a good one for Denver. Well, he goes into the end zone. Darren Como, that's a very tough spot for him. He almost had to run, stop, and just use his hand to down the ball. Once he fell on it and skidded into the end zone, it was the touchback.
If he could have knocked that ball backwards instead of carrying it with him, the ball would have been there, and it would have been great.
Elway watches Mark Wilson go to work. Wilson intercepted on his last throw. Elway's been intercepted twice. Dumps it off to Allen. And Mecklenburg greets him at the 25. A gain of 5 for Allen, who has not broken anything longer than 10 yards as a receiver or runner yet in this first half.
Over on the right side of that Raider offensive line, Mickey Marvin, 65, and Henry Lawrence, both hurt last week and questionable for today. Lawrence with a knee injury. Marvin pulled his plantaris muscle. It actually exploded on him. And yet the two of them back in there and doing a good job of protection. There's Marcus Allen. That's like a long handoff. He's dangerous anytime he touches the ball.
2nd and 5. Allen again. Ad-libbing to a first down at the 31. The quick instincts and reactions. There was nothing inside. Boom. Outside he goes for the first down.
Steve Foley said something very interesting about Marcus Allen. He said when you watch this man run in the films, you notice that he is very seldom out of control. Always has his body under control, and that's one of the reasons that he can make that quick movement to the outside.
He's been a star all of his football life, going back to his days in high school at Lincoln High School in San Diego, where he not only was the leading quarterback and rusher, he intercepted more passes than anyone else, 4 for touchdowns on defense. Wilson with an isolate. Hester is behind Wilson and can't come up with the ball. And it appeared he took a bump or two in the process. No flag.
I don't think there's any question about the fact that he was bumped. It looked like Steve Wilson using his elbow on Hester on that play. The official, for whatever reason, deciding to ignore it. Wilson gets that high lofted pass again. Seems to be up there forever. And right at the end, and I think we really missed the bumping that we were talking about. But Wilson did a great job of stripping the arms down. And that's what a good defensive back will do. Jerk those arms down so that the receiver cannot control the football.
From Howard University in the nation's capital. A long shot, a free agent spotted by Dallas. And now making his home comfortably in that Denver secondary. 2nd and 10. Again going long. Louis Wright intercepts for Denver. And Williams thought he was fouled.
We've had 2 great over-the-shoulder interceptions. One earlier by Lester Hayes for the Raiders, and this one, of course, by Louis Wright. Man-for-man coverage on Dokie Williams. Again, Wright using more than the 5-yard area, but watch him as he becomes the receiver and Dokie Williams becomes the defensive back.
Well, coaches talk about it all the time. Don't leave the ball on the ground. The turnover, how important it is. The Raiders, despite the -8, is there any other team that can come back from that minus column and be such a solid winning club as the Raiders? Doesn't seem to bother them. The Broncos are a +8. And that stays that way because there have been 4 interceptions today, 2 on each side. From his 29. And action before the snap was Sean Jones drawn offside. Dave Studdard, the tackle for Denver.
Talking about that turnover number, we'll let the official.
Number 70, first down.
That -8 that you showed us there rings a bell, because I think several years ago when the Raiders won the Super Bowl, they went into the playoffs with a -8 in the turnover column. And as you said, there are very few teams able to overcome that kind of negative numbers. The Raiders very little concerned about statistics and averages. And I guess Al Davis said it best. He said, just win, baby. Just win.
That's right. That's the only number that really counts. We haven't had a sack yet, interestingly, on either side in this first half. 1st and 15. Drill to Watson at the 39. That's going to be close to a first down as veteran Steve Watson. Nearly 15 yards on the play.
Watson took a real shot on that play. The reason that this play is successful, the way that John Elway can power the football. Look how fast that ball just zipped into your screen. Lester Hayes had good coverage on Watson. The ball thrown so quickly, he had no chance to cover the ground and close that cushion that they talk about between the defensive back and the receiver.
Gain of 14 on the play, 2nd and 1. Winder. Not much, but enough for the first down at the 40-yard line. Sean Jones from northeastern of Boston made the tackle. Clock running, 4:22 left in the first half.
You feel the energy kind of oozing out of this crowd. They love their Broncos here, and they're an enthusiastic crowd. The only thing I think that keeps this from being the noisiest stadium in all of football is the fact that it's outdoors and there's a place for the noise to go.
You get down that closed end, it's tough, but it's open down to the right as you view it from our vantage point. First down, Denver leading 7-0, less than 4 minutes remaining in the first half. Away from Howie long, and then the throw to the wide open Butch Johnson, and a flag down against whom in the secondary.
Lester Hayes saying it's offensive interference on Butch Johnson. He was on the ground.
Johnson, who has not played much in the last month, Hans Johnson, the rookie, has taken his spot.
It is called. It is called on Butch Johnson. You'll see it at the end of the play. Now he drives Lester off, and right here he'll use his shoulder on him and just push him away. You see the arm and the shoulder right there, and of course the defender is entitled to the room he has as well.
Lester Hayes, John Goose Gooden, using a couple of baseball names. Elway's slider comes in at about 105 miles an hour. Well, that was a good read on that last throw to Watson. Remember, he drilled a Goose Gooden goodie, and Hayes just not, although within a step of Watson, couldn't get there to close in and knock the pass away. That offensive penalty makes it 1st and 20. Little reverse to Sewell. Van McElroy and James Davis with a tackle at around the 36. Clock running at 3:30 left in this first half. You get the feeling that Denver's had the better of things in this first half, Merlin. The field position, the touchdown, but lead only 7-0, and the Raiders 7-0 at the half. That won't make them feel too badly.
Traditionally, they play the first half tough, stay close in the ball game, and they like to close it out big in the fourth quarter.
And the Broncos haven't scored in the third quarter in something like 2 months. Away to Clint Sampson. Oh, what a move by Sampson. He wasn't down. Yes, he was, they say. At the 46, and oh, the fans don't like that. They feel that Sampson got up before contact was made.
The rule is that once the contact has initiated the body movement for that running back or a receiver in this case, if the knee or any other part of the body except the hand touches the ground, they're going to blow it dead.
Well, you be the officials at home. Dan Reeves, of course, has a bias. Sampson not touched there. Haynes is on him. He's down, but not from Haynes' contact. He's already up before Haynes makes contact. Reeves has a good argument.
That is not a good call by the official.
So it'll be 3rd down, 13. Elway, good protection. Drills to Watson. First down. From Temple University, Steve Watson. What a receiver he's been.
They're trying to create confusion, 2 receivers together, but again, the secret of this pass is the arm strength of Elway.
And it comes at the 2-minute warning. Denver with another first down. Capacity is 75,100, and they boo the no-shows here, and it's usually only a couple, just a family that can't make it, and they're packed in for this Raider-Bronco clash. First place at stake in the West.
You don't mind having somebody sitting close today. It helps you to stay warm.
That's right. Temperatures down at the freezing mark. Denver leading 7-0, 2 minutes left in the half. First down after that 15-yard throw from Elway to Watson. Sewell on a quick hitter, short yardage, a gain of maybe 1.
John Jones, number 99, knifing in from the outside. They had a little stunt called in the defensive line, and Jones just exploded inside to stop that draw. Sometimes you make a good call defensively. Well, here you see him just moving inside.
Being chased by Townsend. Now the throw, and the flag is thrown. It was intended for Sewell. It appeared to be James Davis, 45, who ran into him. McElroy, whose father is a minister, verbally trying to offer some assistance.
Pass interference, number 45, first down.
But Davis is simmed.
I think James Davis just lost the football, didn't know where it was, and in his eagerness to cover his receiver, bumped him while that ball was hanging in the air. Here's the play right at the end, and of course Davis driving right over the top of the receiver. The officials, two of them on the scene, both threw the yellow flags.
That's a case where just looking back at the quarterback wasn't good enough. A big play for the Broncos with 1:35 remaining in the first half. Watson in motion. You see Haynes chasing him across defensively. Complete to Vance Johnson to the 1-yard line. Boy, the speed of this young man, the rookie from Arizona, has really built that offense for Denver.
Watch from the right side of your screen. You'll see Watson coming into this position and Mike Haynes coming here. They're both going to work all the way across the field together. The defensive back will track with the receiver all the way across the field, working his way through traffic. Now you'll see Elway going back. They get the receiver all the way across, and you see the pattern underneath, and that's just pure speed right there.
First and goal at the 1 as the Broncos try to go up 14-0 at the half. Sewell loses a yard. Good defensive play by Stacy Turan, a Notre Dame star playing in Mike Davis's strong safety spot.
Turan, a heads-up play as he knifed in from behind the play. Excellent speed.
Time called by Denver with 33 seconds left before the intermission. Denver knocking on the door just outside the Raider 1-yard line. 7-0. The Broncos lead, scoring on their very first drive of the game. A 10-minute drive consuming 16 plays, 77 yards. Elway, the tight end James Wright. Wright's only touchdown of this entire year. That's the scoring summary for this first half.
Almost the toughest possible situation for a defense with a first down just inside the 2-yard line. The Raiders have managed to stop the Broncos on the first down. They made nothing on that play. Now it's second and goal. You see Flores, he's concerned. 7 points did not concern him as much as 14 would going in at the half.
Down Denver. Sammy Winder.
The Broncos use big number 87, James Wright, to come in and trap on that play, and we'll have some replays for you after Rich Carlos gets a chance for the extra point.
Denver's barefooted specialist. Bad snap, but a good recovery by Kubiak, the backup quarterback, and it's 14-0. It all started with Louis Wright's interception back at the Denver 29.
Chance to look close up on this play, and you'll see number 87, Louis Wright, coming in right there from the outside of your screen as a trap blocker. And he was able to make a little bit of room in there. Sammy Winder diving inside. Inside, they're having trouble controlling on the line. Howie is driving inside 75. Howie Long got a hand on him. Sean Jones, 99 from the other side. But inside, they were able to find enough room for Sammy Winder.
Former star at Southern Mississippi. Hardly Southern here in the Rocky Mountain High at Denver. And a good inside look at the pile of bodies as Winder found a crack as they ran to what used to be Lyle Alzado's side. And a 14-0 lead, and the Raiders now, there's Alzado out for the year and hopefully not for the rest of a career. He's in the twilight anyway, past 35. But he's still trying to inspire his teammates along that Raider sideline.
Rich Carlos is teeing up the ball. I was in the locker room the other day. He has a sign in his locker. On one side it said GOAT, on the other side hero. The GOAT side was out this week. Well, so far today the hero side can be out.
He's kicked off very well. This one skids low, but by Derek Jensen, bobbled by Fulton Walker, and he stopped at the 15-yard line. So Carlos's 3 kickoffs have been outstanding. 2 through the end zone and 1 to the 15. Daniel Hunter covered Fulton Walker. Well, with only 2 weeks left after this Sunday, so much has happened today that has impact on the whole playoff picture. And Messrs. Costed, Rashad, and Axelm are standing by to bring you up to date on the meanings of the scores that we already have had today. There'll be some disappointed fans and some with their hopes very much alive. 26 seconds left in the half. Fumble, and the Broncos have recovered.
That's twice today that Mark Wilson has come out from underneath Don Mosbar as center without the football. They were able to recover the first one themselves, but that one they had no chance on, and Wilson is angry. Let's see what happens. Maybe we can tell what happened. It looked like Wilson may have been out a little bit early, trying to get back, get some depth. It was a pass play, obviously, but I think what he did is either he came out early or Mosbar was a little late on the snap.
Boy, Rulon Jones on that like a bird on a worm. Elway and the Broncos now a chance to really blow this first half wide open with a 14-0 lead. 22 seconds left. Elway toward the end zone. Knocked away, but a flag is down. Both Kay and Steve Watson in the end zone, and Stacy Turan applauding as if it might be a Bronco penalty. It is.
Second offensive interference penalty of the day, and that's very unusual to see that many. Look right into the eyes of John Elway, and I think if that ball had been allowed to go through by Clarence Kay, that it might have been caught by Watson, although Lester Hayes was all over Steve Watson.
The penalty was on Kay, the man in the shorter position, but he was pushing on Lester Hayes was the call.
A lot of teams now designing plays that, if they're not out-and-out picks, look like picks. You can't go through and knock those defenders off with receivers coming the other direction.
Ball at the 23, first down and 20. The clock important, 18 seconds left. Raiders may have been offside. Flags are down. Elway on the scramble. Long in pursuit. Intercepted by 57.
Jerry Robinson,
the former Eagle. But it may not count. The clock is down to 3 seconds, but it appeared that the Raiders were offside.
Not a good play by Elway. He has thrown the ball several times today, and they're going to, you're right, Dick, they're going to wave it back. They'll go back to the line of scrimmage, but Elway has tried to beat the sack today by throwing the ball away. He's been intercepted twice earlier in the game that way, was intercepted there and saved by the offside penalty.
Side, number 71, first down.
Bill Pickel, but there were a couple of Raiders that lurched offside. And with 3 seconds left, it would appear that the Broncos will go for the field goal. Carlos is in with a 5-yard penalty. The ball marked at the 18, which will make this about a 37-yard attempt.
I mentioned the hero and GOAT side of Rich Carlos. One of these fans a little upset with his kicking over the past few weeks, sent him an artificial leg, which he had in his locker. Well, I'm sure with the cold today, that foot is numb enough as it is.
It's a 35-yard attempt. The fumble is worth nothing as he's wide to the left. And with it, the end of the first half, a little more debate on the line of scrimmage, but they'll untangle and head to their respective locker rooms.
With the Los Angeles Raider defense, a tremendous play here and a tremendous series for them as they are able to deny the Broncos the touchdown or even the field goal. A little hugging going on. Well, that's Greg Townsend coming in. He didn't want to be called for the penalty. Now, not a good snap. We've seen 2 bad snaps by Keith Bishop so far today, And I think that made it difficult for Carlos to get the timing right.
Carlos hooking to the left, and so the end of the first 30 minutes in the battle for first in the West. The Broncos lead 14-0. Missing a 35-yard field goal in the final play of the first half that would have given the Broncos a 2-touchdown-plus lead. And now 30 minutes to go.
One thing sure, you don't try an onside kick from down here on the 20-yard line.
It would be the ultimate surprise, although Barr worked it magnificently against the Broncos in the first game at the Coliseum in L.A. He kicks off from the 20. Daniel Hunter and Vance Johnson are deep. Good driving kick.
Boy, he drilled it out of there.
All the way to the 8-yard line. Hunter. Jerry Robinson, an all-pro, playing on special teams with the Raiders, as he just can't get the job away from the rookie Reggie McKenzie.
And what great special teams play by the Raiders as they lose 15 yards on the penalty and end up giving the ball to the Broncos, and there goes another flag in the air.
There's another unsportsmanlike yellow flag, and Howie Long is the man, or no, it's Matt Millen debating with.
I think they better get out of there. They might get another one.
Fred Wyant, the referee.
I have an unsportsmanlike number 56.
That's against Jeff Barnes, his 56. So at the end of the half, 15 yards for unsportsmanlike, and that's how the second half begins for the Raiders. And they'll kick it over again, this time from their 5-yard line. No, they're going to mark it off there. I was going to say.
Get it to them after the change of possession, so it does move that ball out, and where they were going to start on the 21, they now start just outside of the 35, out on the 37.5, 38-yard line.
I thought we were going to see something I've never seen before, a kickoff from the 5-yard line.
So the Broncos in excellent position at the 37. That's right in motion, and Winder, the solo running back, to the 41. Second down and 6. This has not been a good quarter for the Broncos. 39 points all season long, but in the last 2 months they haven't scored at all.
They have not scored a touchdown in the last 8 games. They have had some field goals, but in 6 games they've not scored in the third quarter. So this has been a bad time for them. And of course the Raiders traditionally strong in the second half, although I think this cold might start to bother both of these teams if it continues.
2nd and 7. Elway to Kay, and he's wrapped up at the 40 for a loss. He wanted to go to Vance Johnson over the middle, but good coverage, and he dumped it off to Kay as a safety valve, and Rod Martin right there, number 53 for the Raiders. What a good player he is, and an inspiration to all you young players who are high school, college, not even 200 pounds. That was Martin's story. That's why he wasn't picked until the 12th round in '77. He was only a 200-pound linebacker. A good one.
And even better today.
Triple right, shotgun. Gerald Wilhite, his first appearance of the game, and he's far short of the first down. Bill Packel and Rod Martin with a tackle. Now the Broncos, unable to move the ball, will have to punt it away.
Wilhite, out there with a badly sprained ankle, was able to run with difficulty during the week. Makes his first appearance and very uneventful. A little trickery going on. 3 wide receivers to the near side. They ran them all off and then tried to throw a little screen out here.
Chris Norman, who punted only once in the first half, 55 yards, a ball that rolled into the end zone. So 35 net. Fulton Walker, the former Miami Dolphin, stands at the 22. Miss that one. Jeff Barnes right in on Norman, who got it away to Walker at the 15. He's dangerous. 25, 30, 35 and out of bounds at the 37. Fulton Walker. How in the world did Barnes miss blocking it?
Jeff Barnes, I think, afraid that he was going to miss it and rough the kicker. He's in plenty of time, but took the wrong angle. I think if he'd have angled across the kicker's foot, he would have knocked it away.
Speaking of wrong angles, there's our sideline vehicle. One of the very best in the business, Lou Gerard, working on that last Sunday. He had an accident, fractured a bone in his leg, his foot, and we really miss you, Lou, and hope you have a speedy recovery. We never counted on you for extra points anyway, but we miss your artistry.
Broke that ankle in 3 places, I understand.
Marcus Allen out to the 41, a gain of 4.
Dick, maybe we can go back to Fulton Walker with that fine return. He'll move closer to a record. He's only carried the ball back in 8 games as a punt returner, but he's closing in on Greg Pruitt's all-time NFL record of 666 yards. Here's the last part of that play. Hopefully we get the end of it, but well, no, there he is. The better yet, look at the man himself. And what a tremendous record to be able to return for only 8 games. Came 4 games into the season, missed the Miami game, and is still working on that record. Needs an average of 45 yards a game to do it.
Raiders have been so good at picking up that loose man. Marcus Allen not open. Flag is down. Back in the Raider backfield.
Mickey Marvin helping the officials by waving his own flags over there and pointing over to their side.
Foul, hands to the face mask, number 75.
Rulon Jones, second penalty against the defensive end from Utah State, using his hands into the face mask on his defensive charge. Well, a lot of that is done. They don't call it very often.
You see a lot of that, and I agree with that kind of a call because it's very dangerous to start using that face mask as a weapon and jamming the head back. An easy way to get a man injured. They've taken away the head slap from the defensive lineman. They don't want the hands up in the face mask, and that's fair on both sides of the line of scrimmage.
It's a big penalty, 15 yards, and a first down for the Raiders at the Denver 44. Only the second time Los Angeles has been in Bronco territory today. Marcus skittering along the sidelines. He stepped out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Steve Busick, his former teammate with the Trojans of USC, knocked him out of bounds.
You know, you can hold the great backs in check very often for a quarter, a half, as the Broncos have done. But if they keep hammering at you, they sometimes have the ability to come back and make the big plays in the second half.
Marcus Allen with nearly 1,400 yards. The rest of the Raider backs 400. He has more yardage than the top 4 rushers for the Broncos if you take Elway out of that top 4. Frank Hawkins. Not much. It'll be short of the vow. He has the first down at the 33-yard line. Needed only a couple, and Ken Woodard, 52, made the tackle.
There's the comparison you alluded to, Dick. The 4 rushing backs for the Broncos, Winder, Sewell, Lang, and Wilhite, with a total of 1,295 yards. Marcus himself with 1,392. And I'll tell you, in his importance to this team and what he has contributed, he's got to be one of the leading candidates for MVP on the season.
A true star is Allen. First down, 33 of Denver. Very important possession for the Raiders should they score here early in the third quarter. Wilson going long for Christensen. And a flag is down. Foley and Smith double coverage and a flag at the 10. That we'll wait to see against the receiver or against the defender. Against Denver. Interference.
2 big penalties here. One for unsportsmanlike conduct, and then a second helped the Raiders to move the ball well down inside Bronco territory.
Illegal contact, number 49, first down.
So it is not interference by the illegal contact before the ball was thrown. So that's a shorter penalty of 5 yards to the 27 instead of down to the 10. We expected to have some penalty yards today.
Certainly did. Big penalties, too. A lot of 15-yarders. That is quite unusual.
Allen blasting to the 20. Gain of about 6 more, maybe 7. And again, a little extracurricular action. Carl Mecklenburg finally with the stop of Marcus Allen.
Normally rather sedate Reuben Carter, number 68, up nose to nose with number 65, Mickey Marvin. And tempers are short in a game like this that's emotionally charged because of its importance and also because of the ongoing animosity between these 2 teams. It's bound to happen.
2nd and 3. Good protection. Open is Christensen. And it's 1st and goal for the Raiders at the 8-yard line. Busick, Foley, and Woodard with a tackle of Christensen, the tight end.
Money receivers. In the crucial situations, you go to people you know can get open, to someone that you know will catch the football. He gets away on the line of scrimmage, does a good job of bumping right there on Mecklenburg, and Mark Wilson got him the football.
Mecklenburg unable to cover him and then unable to bring him down. 1st and goal. Wilson working into the noisy end of Mile High Stadium. Oh my. Allen appeared to have a touchdown to the outside but lost his footing, and down he goes at the 3.
Collier sending a different set of troops onto the field. I'm sure glad that they dodged that opportunity for a touchdown by Marcus. He just tried to cut too tight. I'll tell you, they've done a great job of getting this field and keeping it in shape. They've had a horrible November, and yet this grass is still growing. They've kept it in good shape, but not able to support that hard cut by Marcus Allen.
14-0 Denver. The Raiders trying to get on the board. 8:40 left, 3rd quarter. Wide open is Christensen for the touchdown. And that quiets this Denver crowd as Todd Christensen embraces his 6th touchdown reception of the season.
Mark Wilson, as we mentioned earlier, had an earlier opportunity and threw an end zone interception to end a drive. Well, it ends more happily for the Raiders here. They're able to get Todd Christensen free again, and he pulls down his 6th touchdown of the year.
Chris Barr with a try for point. Wilson to hold. He knuckled it through. 8:31 remaining in the 3rd quarter, and the Raiders are right back in it in Denver. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. Welcome back to Mile High Stadium in Denver. The Raiders have closed within 14-7, and Barr's kick sailing deep into the end zone, and Daniel Hunter will not run it out. 1st down, Broncos at their 20-yard line. John Elway. They'll try to attack that Raider defense. 2nd best in the entire NFL in their percentage of passes completed. Only the Bears have allowed less than 48% their defense of their opponents' passes to be completed. The Raiders have allowed just a 49% completion against. So on the ground, Sewell, that doesn't fool the Raiders. No gains. Stacy Toran up from a safety spot, number 30. This has been the jinx quarter for the Denver Broncos. They've seen their lead melt from 14-0 to 14-7. 8 minutes left.
First play of this drive does little to inspire optimism in this crowd.
Vance Johnson way out to the right where Lester Hayes has him. And Elway rolls in that direction and goes long. It's a bad pass, and Hayes will intercept. Mike Haynes has his 2nd interception of the year. As the pass wobbled, Watson was deep, and that was a perfect chance for Mike Haynes, his 2nd of the game, 3rd of the year.
Howie Long just about knocked himself out as he hit John Elway. He's still wobbling there. Elway trying to avoid the sack. Will feel the pressure coming from the backside. Howie Long, 75, will be coming into your picture, and Elway throws the ball and literally goes into his 3rd interception of the day by trying to avoid the sack.
There are some special things in this world that only a handful of people can appreciate. Now, maybe you're not one of these people. But if you are, spend some time getting to know Mazda's new RX-7. But I'll warn you, it'll flat spoil you for anything else.
Introducing Mazda's new generation RX-7.
The 10-year veteran from Arizona State, Mike Haynes, 7 times a Pro Bowler, and he's had a good day today. Only 1 interception coming in and 2 against the Broncos this afternoon. 38 on his career. And it positions the Raiders down 14-7 at the Bronco 46-yard line. Oh, Mecklenburg. No, it isn't Mecklenburg. Simon Fletcher, 73, greeting Allen for a loss. He's one of the top picks, or rookie picks of the Broncos out of the University of Houston.
Dan Reeves mentioned that he had played well last week. They put him in that 4-man alignment, and he said he played so well in his first exposure that we're going to give him a chance to play some more. Well, now you know why.
Single parent. He's raising his 2-year-old daughter, Ashley. I said, what are you learning from her? He said, patience. I said, what are you teaching her? He said, I'm trying to teach her to get potty trained, like any parent with a 2-year-old. Puts everything in perspective. Wilson scrambling. Mecklenburg gets him from behind at the 39. 7 yards for Wilson.
A fine play by Mark Wilson, who recognized there was no place to go. Mecklenburg talking about his unique opportunity. The fact that he gets to move around in that defense and literally has the kind of freedom. And, well, we've seen that with other players and other teams. We used to watch the Stork. Teddy Hendricks do that for this Raider team. And, of course, he played just the linebacking positions. Mecklenburg will also play all the down line positions.
Broncos answer to Joe Palooka. This has been the trouble spot for Mark Wilson, where Elway's 2 touchdown drives have involved making the 3rd down conversion. And a scramble again. He's got the 1st down and a flag with it. It appeared they got the face mask.
They're going for the head. These officials, I'm sure, conscious of the explosive potential of this rivalry. They're not going to tolerate a lot of messing around on the field.
Randy Robbins, 2nd-year man from Arizona.
Face mask, 15 yards, number 48, touchdown.
And that's the big penalty. Tackling with the mask. Touching the mask, grabbing the mask, a 5-yard penalty. When you use it and jerk the man down with it, as they do right there, he's got the head, yanking it down.
Watch him with he makes contact with the right hand. Look at the left hand. He jerks that head around. Partially screened by Dennis Smith. 15 yards. 1st down at the 20 for the Raiders. They trail 14-7. 5:41 left. 3rd quarter. Allen straight ahead to the 15-yard line. 5 more for Allen. Remember when he complained about not getting the ball enough a couple of years ago, and Al Davis says, you want to run more? He said, yes, I want to run more. Al said, why don't you take a couple of laps? Well, he's getting his chance this year.
Coming into this year, the highest number of carries he had ever in a ball game was 26 for the Raiders. This year he's had a 31-carry game, a 30-carry game, and a 29-carry game.
And loves it.
And loves it, and is enjoying it. And the great backs love to have those opportunities. They seem to get stronger as the game goes on. That's the way Marcus is playing here today.
2nd and 5. Wide open. Oh, it deflected. Hester was open at the 3. And the man in front was Dennis Smith. He just caught a piece of it. You'll see this ball deflect right out of the grasp of Hester.
Fingertips. Just the barest amount of deflection on that ball, but it's enough. There's no way. If he doesn't get a finger on this ball, it's a sure catch. Just touches it, and the ball goes right to the helmet of Hester and bounces away.
Was that a great play by Dennis Smith? He'd lost his footing going down and still had the presence to reach up and make the play.
He made a great interception with that kind of ball reaction earlier in the game. In fact, it was he that stopped the touchdown drive in the 1st quarter.
3rd and 5. Allen, who else? 1st down, touchdown. Just gliding so smoothly into the end zone. And it's 14-13. And talk about a touchdown maker.
The game breakers, no question about it. On a play where the Broncos were thinking pass, Marcus Allen is running.
15 yards and a chance to tie as they'll tee it up for Chris Barr. It's a new game after the interception by Mike Haynes at the Denver 46. Marcus Allen, 15 yards, a touchdown that ties it up. On the left, former Dallas Cowboys star Dan Reeves in his 5th year, already the winningest coach in Bronco history. Tom Flores, 20 years now in the silver and black as a player and a coach, his 7th year as head coach. It's 14 all. Johnson from the goal line. Ooh, is he hammered at the 16-yard line. A vicious hit.
47, Don Bessalou, a new acquisition by this Raider team, and Johnson almost did not get up off the ground.
Marcus Allen, a reprieve, 15 yards, set up beautifully. Allen, following his blockers, saw the opening, and then it was history.
What a nice block by 73 Charlie Hanna to spring him loose.
Now the game breakers. Elway, who had the lead in the first half. Allen has almost equaled Elway's game total with a brilliant third quarter, and the game even at 14. Elway starts from the Denver 15. Throwing and overthrows Steve Watson on the near sidelines. Let's pause briefly for station identification from Denver. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is WNBC TV, New York.
In the East today, the 3 teams who were at 9-4 have all won. New England, Miami, and the New York Jets. 2 teams here in the West, 9-4. Of those 5, only 4 can make the playoffs, and the loser today will find himself in a tough spot. Although the Raiders are in a better position than Denver to accept the loss. We'll tell you more about that later. 2nd and 10. Long pursuing, and there'll be a penalty against the man trying to block Howie Long. They did everything but wrestle him down.
Tremendous pressure being generated, in particular in this third quarter, on Elway, and we'd mentioned he's tried to get away from the sack by dumping the football during the day. Look at Townsend, 93, 3 Broncos trying to block him. He'll spring free, but there's Howie Long, 75, and you saw the holding right there, someone trying to tackle him. The Atlanta Falcons tried to control him that way last week. There were 5 calls for holding on the man who was trying to block Howie Long last week.
Hold on, I believe they're going to call that against the Raiders.
Number 93, first down.
They said that Townsend was holding the blockers. There's an unusual call.
Not terribly unusual in a sense that when you run a stunt, you'd like to occupy the different people. And he's going in to grab as many bodies as he can get a hold of there. Now, that's a strange call. He's just trying to get away from a hammerlock.
Meanwhile, Long was being tackled by the man endeavoring to block him.
You see holding called against defensive linemen often, but I don't think that was a good call.
Down to the 4-yard line, 24-yard line goes Sewell, a gain of 4, and more importantly, the Townsend foul carried with it the automatic first down, so that really helped Elway and the Broncos out of a jam. By the way, the Broncos in the third quarter, we told you, hadn't scored a touchdown in 8 games. They certainly haven't today, and they have not made a first down in this third quarter, while the Raiders have racked up 8 and 2 touchdowns to tie the game. Nathan Poole, he's been sitting in a computer office this past year, hasn't played football for 2 seasons, and with a desperate condition of the running back status here in Denver with the injuries to the likes of, well, most recently Gene Lang, Poole, who played a couple of years in Cincinnati, 2 years in Denver, was signed right out of the office. Said, I'm no Walter Payton, believe me, I'll try to make the adjustment.
An inspiration, I'm sure, to everyone who feels that they can put on a uniform and partake of the activity on the field.
Broncos hungry for just a first down. Elway needs 4. And he'll get it with that throw to Steve Watson. And look at Lester Hayes. That's not the new funky chicken. He thought he was being pushed. First down, Denver.
Right at the end of the play, Watson, who'd done a great job of reaching down to pick that one up off the ground. And there's Lester saying, hey, he's pushing me. One of the things that the Broncos did on that play was move their wide receivers in close to the line, in closer to the center of the line, to give them more room to work on the outside.
2 minutes and 33 seconds left in the third quarter here in Denver. It's tied at 14. Sammy Winder cut down at the 35-yard line, and the Raiders have done a good job in defensing the running of Winder. He was the only Pro Bowler in the entire Denver team last year, despite the fact the Broncos won the West and were 13-3. Total yards third quarter. Yeah, that figures with the Raiders getting 14 points and the Broncos none.
Well, and if you credit either what is done or not done by an offensive team to what they are able to adjust to at halftime, the Denver coaches must be using the wrong formula in the locker room during the half.
Steve Sewell sent way out to the right side in this formation. And Turan on the blitz, and so Elway has to dump it. Incomplete. No one blocked Turan, and Elway had no choice. He was going to take a big loss if he didn't dump it off.
Simply overloaded. There was no one to pick Elway up, and Elway knew he had to get rid of the ball. He was complaining because he felt the hit was late.
Well, one of the sons in the wide receiver corps for Denver comes in. Sampson. They have two, Johnsons and Watson.
I don't think there's another defensive scheme in football that puts more pressure on a quarterback than the Raiders defense.
That is an incredibly good percentage on third down. 7 out of 10 for Denver. 3rd and 6. Fake to Johnson. Elway's going to run it. Howie Long chases him out of bounds, shy of the first down, and a flag goes down. Elway trying to stop, and the officials rule that he got some assistance from a Raider.
That's like a hornet's nest over there. Elway just trying to get out of bounds, and you may see another flag thrown in the air over there. Some of the Broncos over to bring Elway out, give him a little escort. I think Elway decided early on that play he was simply going to run. Here's the play. What they're saying is that Rod Martin is taking him down out of bounds. Well, he hit him out of bounds, and Elway obviously was carrying himself out of bounds, but it seems like a bit of a puny effort to throw a 15-yard flag on.
The conditions, like most accidents, it takes more than one element. In this case, the slippery canvas over there on the Raider sidelines. Had that been a normal situation, Elway would have stopped, probably wouldn't have fallen so dramatically, and there would not have been a flag. But it looked worse than Martin's. In fact, you can almost make a case for Martin trying to catch Elway.
And of course, that would have brought up a critical 4th down. Elway escaping twice in this drive because of penalties against the Raider defense. And one has to believe that these officials are so concerned about this game getting away from them that they're calling it awfully carefully.
See that bulge on the knee of Elway. Protection that he needs. First down.
Look out.
James Wright. And the former TCU star. Close to a first down at the 39. Brad Van Pelt was pressuring Elway.
You see Elway limping. That's that bad left leg. He wears the big brace to protect it. But he has taken a lot of shots today. Many times as he's gotten the football away, he has found himself flat on his back looking up the sky.
If I was a head coach, leading the NFL as a quarterback in rushing is not a good statistic. But sometimes it's a matter of conditions, and Elway continues to run the football.
As they measure for the first down, the one thing that you have to know about Elway is that he wants to be the impact player on that offense. And he has really been the key, both with his running and with his throwing. Today, the yardage is good, but the interceptions, and he's been doing a much better job of that. And again, I think Dan Reeves had talked to him and said, just throw that ball away. Well, in throwing it away today, he's thrown it to the white-shirted Raiders on 3 different occasions.
He's just a few yards away from setting a new Denver Bronco all-time yardage mark. He's already this season set new
marks here in Denver for most passes, most completions. He'll move ahead of Tripucka and Morton with about 30 more yards this afternoon. Just short of the first down at the 38 of the Raiders. That's a down to play with 2nd and inches. 1 minute 17 seconds left in the third.
Dick, is it just me, or is it that the Raiders don't look quite as intimidating in those white uniforms as they do in those big black jerseys?
Something about that black. Well, it's almost become the expected, hasn't it? To go to the pass, 2nd and short, and it's almost intercepted by Turan. Double coverage on Watson. They had Hayes playing behind Watson, and then Turan from a safety spot underneath.
Showing his confidence, and we talked about money receivers. This is the guy that Elway wants to go to, and I think, again, credit the velocity of that pass. Turan up there in front of it, but it couldn't get his hands on it. Elway really put some heat on that ball.
Christensen, and they go to him, and we've seen that today, and Watson the same. That's the man to watch when you need that yardage on 3rd and short. In this case, it'll be Sewell running for the first down to the 36. Last minute of the third quarter, a tie game in Denver.
Dick, even though this Raider team doesn't look quite as intimidating in those white uniforms, I don't think you're going to mistake them for a boys club choir.
You know, something that people don't talk much about, but every time the Raiders play somewhere, it's a rivalry. Everybody wants to beat the Raiders. Kansas City, it's the Raiders. That's their main rival. Seattle, it's the Raiders. Here in Denver, it's the Raiders.
You know, they like not being liked, though.
They work on it. Winder. And again, read so well by the defense of the Raiders. Winder, a long run for him today has been 5 yards. Broncos failed to score again in the third quarter, and after 3, it's tied at 14. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Walter Poindexter's about to make the purchase of a lifetime, a television that will bring primetime alive in his living room.
Broncos now driving into field goal range at the 35, 2nd and 8. Good protection for Elway, and now it breaks down, and he is down in the grasp of Sean Jones, 99, who has replaced Lyle Alzado. That's the first sack of the entire game on either side. Jones has 5 in the 3 games since he replaced Alzado.
From the end zone, you'll see Jones coming from the left-hand side. It looks like he gets down on the ground and actually crawls in there. There he is. Now watch him. He's just got Elway's ankle and gets back inside and jerks the legs out from underneath him. Long arms. I'll tell you, he is going to be a player.
6'7" and 265. That would take the Broncos out of field goal range. 3rd and 16. Elway needs some big yardage. Down the middle to Watson. Lester Hayes, no flag. And so the Broncos punting team comes on.
A one-on-one battle that continues between Lester Hayes and Steve Watson. Hayes trying to force him outside, now comes along behind, times his hit right there, goes up with the ball, and again the defensive back batting it away at the last second. Excellent timing.
He likes to fish for barracuda, does Lester Hayes. He's in the right sport here too, then, isn't he?
Does he bite him when he gets him on board?
Oh, the judge, he might do anything. Chris Norman. Fulton Walker at the other end. Toward the coffin corner, and it kicks the other way for the Bronco fans into the end zone. Norman disappointed. First down at the 20. 42-yard punt. 14 minutes left in Denver. There's the 22-year-old replacement for Lyle Alzado, Sean Jones. Let's not forget his sack of Elway. That took the Broncos out of field goal range and may have denied them the lead. It remains 14 all, and the Raiders have the ball at the 20. The crowd trying to help the Denver defense. Marcus Allen for 9 more. That gives him 84 yards on the day. Let's run down the scoreboard for you as they rehuddle. Finals, the Bears win their 13th. New England goes 10-4. Washington a winner at Philadelphia. Miami rallies to win at Green Bay. The Jets also 10-4. The biggest surprise of the day, Dallas succumbing to Cincinnati 50-24. We'll have more after this one. Hawkins on 2nd and 1. Powers for the first down. Back to the NFL scores, and this the 14th week of the season. St. Louis a winner against New Orleans. Kansas City, they'll play here in Denver next Saturday. You'll see that on NBC. Now the late action. Seattle trying to make that AFC Central all the more muddled as they lead Cleveland 17-6. The Seahawks still have a long shot. Giants a big lead at Houston, and Minnesota ahead of Tampa Bay in the 3rd. You're up to date. Here it's 14 all. First down, Raiders. Allen dancing, a fumble, but he was already down. Crowd cheering, but the signal is that Allen was down when he fumbled.
I think Hawkins, the man who actually had that ball, Dick. No, you're right. I see Hawkins coming out of there. It looked like he did have his hands on it until he hit the ground.
But he was juggling.
He was juggling that ball. And of course, one of the fortes of this Denver team is their alertness. Boy, they pounce on those fumbles when they see them roll.
Walter Payton rushed for 100 yards again today, 111. That's 9 straight for the great Bears back. Allen needs 13 to rush for 7 consecutive 100-yard games. That's short yardage out to about the 37-yard line. Not much there, and a flag is down.
There have been some interesting calls, some tough calls for officials today. Well, there's another one. A holding call against the Los Angeles Raiders. Here's that last play in slow motion. Now watch Allen as he's hit here initially. It looks like he begins to lose control of the football. Almost pinching it against his head.
That's a fumble.
That is. Well, Dick, I don't know.
But that's slow motion, and if you're an official,
we're looking at slow motion.
Number 70, 2nd down.
The other thing is, you know that the first part of his body that hits besides his hand or his feet is going to mark him down.
That's right. Yeah, we're watching the shoulder. The knee is down a little earlier. But
well, he was going down on his back. I don't think it was his knee that hit first.
Yeah, or whatever. I think we're all guilty of doing too much officiating with that instant replay. Williams right, Hester left. The crowd is in it. And so is Marcus Allen, spinning out to the 35-yard line. That won't be enough for the first down after that 10-yard penalty, but a sizable gain that'll carry him close to 100 yards for the day. Mike Harden is back in the lineup, made the tackle. It's getting colder, and the Raiders from Southern California using the heater.
Well, and you know that this has to hurt the Raiders more than it does Denver. They work out. They practice every day in this cold, and they at least can handle it better psychologically, if not physically.
3rd and 8. Wilson uses the rollout. Flag down, intercepted by Denver's Dennis Smith. Will it count? A flag is down. Dennis Smith with the ball.
If it's a holding penalty, and it is, that ball will go over, and Dennis Smith has his 2nd interception of the day. He had 4 balls in his hand, 4 opportunities to intercept the ball in the first game between these two teams, and dropped all 4. Well, he hasn't dropped them today, and those 2 interceptions, along with a fingertip knockaway, have been crucial to the Denver defense's success.
First down.
Good coverage against Todd Christensen, and Dennis Smith has given the Broncos the ball at the 44-yard line.
A VHS video camera.
And recorder.
Oh, well, it's so big.
It's a lot more than I expected.
This year, bigger isn't better. That's why Sony invented the Handycam.
It's so little.
A video camera recorder so tiny, It fits in one hand. Just point and shoot to capture 2 hours of rich color.
Merry Christmas, Graham.
And vivid sound on one tiny video cassette.
Oh, it's a hat.
Then play it back on his little handy cam deck. You can even copy what you've shot on VHS or Beta. Christmas comes just once a year, but the memories can last forever. So instead of a big, bulky gift, give a new Sony Handycam. A little gift that'll go over in a big way.
This is the best Christmas ever.
Recently, the $12,000 Chrysler LeBaron GTS challenged the $24,000 BMW 528e to a high-performance duel. In crucial tests, the LeBaron GTS beat the legendary BMW, and it will keep on beating BMW.
Get 8.6 financing or up to $1,000 cash back.
Today's game is brought to you by Plymouth, a division of Chrysler Corporation. Plymouth, the pride is back, born in America again. By the astonishingly simple new Sony Handycam, all the excitement of video movies now in the palm of your hand. And by Minolta, creator of the incredible Maxim Autofocus SLR, only from the mind of Minolta.
Thanks to his second interception, the only interceptions of the season for Dennis Smith, the Broncos stopped the Raiders, and it's Elway from his own 44. He's in big trouble, and they'll whistle that one dead in the grasp at the 26-yard line. A big loss of Stacy Turan on a safety blitz.
Elway trying to reverse roll out of this, feels the pressure, and I think would have been successful had he tried this against the defensive lineman, but Turan able to adjust very quickly, and I think Stacy Turan got away with a little face masking there.
18-yard loss back to the 26-yard line for the Broncos. 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter, 14 all. We told you earlier, these two teams in the last 2 years have played nothing but dramatic finishes. Every game has been 3 points or less. Earlier it was overtime. Raiders winning in Los Angeles 31-28. It's the second sack of the game, credited to Turan. Elway stepping up, and almost intercepted. That would have been the third for Mike Haynes. Meanwhile, other action in the NFL. Let's go to Ahmad Rashad.
All right, Dick, in Seattle, Darrell Turner, who's only caught 31 balls on the season, but 12 for touchdown, which leads the NFL, does his impression of the moonwalk on this 15-yard touchdown, making the score Seahawks 24, Cleveland 6 in the fourth quarter.
So Seattle trying to keep its hopes for a wild card alive, and to drop Cleveland back into a tie with Cincinnati, and then Pittsburgh plays at San Diego tonight. That could be a three-way tie for first in the Central before tomorrow morning. Elway underneath to Vance Johnson, short yardage to the 35, and the Broncos will have to punt.
Elway had done a great job of converting on third downs, but I'm afraid that one was a little too large to overcome. Dan Reeves not only has a stocking cap, but he's got those long underwear on to try and keep him warm. And ooh, it is getting bitterly cold here, and with that rain falling, it's finally looking like it's turning to a snow.
You're the Rocky Mountain expert. I'm going to deal it to you on all the weather reports. But something is coming down. It is snow. Norman, good kick. Fulton Walker at his 18. 25. And Walker just across the 30-yard line. And with it, a timeout in Denver. 9 minutes, 37 seconds left in a 14 all-time.
The pride is back. Born in America. The pride is back. Born in America.
Plymouth Voyager with car-like handling, front-wheel drive, 550 protection plan. Plymouth, born in America.
The best is born in America again.
Now, get 8.6 financing or $500 cash back on select Plymouth models.
Psst. Here he comes now. See anything suspicious? I don't know. Keep staring at his cigar like there's something different about it.
I'll bet it's the wrapper. Huh? Yeah, most cigars don't use natural leaf wrappers anymore. Now, gosh, your Vegas still gives you the rich tobacco taste of natural leaf wrappers.
He's still staring at it.
Hey, Jimmy, go on over and give him an honest cigar.
Gasha Vega, still an honest cigar.
He's doing it again.
An idea doesn't conform to a 9-to-5 schedule. So at Hewlett-Packard, we're always thinking. Because even though we sell business computing systems, what we really do is solve problems. We never stop asking, what if?
Jim, Mike, I've got an idea on that branch office network. What if we connect all their PCs using a packet switch?
The NFL plays here when the Seahawks battle the Raiders.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL 85.
Merlin Olsen with the man they finally call Ski Man up in Vail now.
That's because they get out of the road.
We're going to get some more snow for those folks who love that sport. All right, first half belonged to Denver. Second half belongs to Raiders. What do you think's going to happen now?
I think the Raiders are a tougher closing team than Denver, although Denver in the past 4 weeks has done nothing but win the close games. They've come from behind in a number of them.
Raiders with the ball. Focus will be on Marcus Allen. There he is with a football. And he draws a crowd as he gains a couple. He'll be right at the 100-yard mark, depending on whether that's a 3-yard gain. It'd be 100.
Dick, let me tell you about the two people that you've got to feel that responsibility is on. There are game breakers, Marcus Allen and on John Elway. And right now, I think those two men really will determine what happens in the final moments of this ball game.
Allen gets only a yard on that carry to 98. Going for his 7th consecutive 100-yard rushing game. He's in motion on this play. 2nd and 9, wide open Hester, and he's got it a first down at the 47 in front of Steve Wilson. 14 yards on the play.
Both of these teams have young wide receivers that they're very proud of. Jesse Hester, the Raiders wanted him badly because they want that deep speed. They want that vertical game.
Yeah, the Broncos have played well in the 4th, but so have the Raiders. That's been their best period. Don't forget, the Raiders have beaten the Jets and New England. So when you look at that 9-4, 10-4 tie with 5 teams all shooting for 10-4, the Raiders have an advantage there even should they lose today. Out to the 50 goes Allen, and with that, he is over the 100-yard mark today again.
4-yard pickup.
Marcus Allen. 15 of those yards for a touchdown that tied the game in the 3rd quarter. Peyton has 9 consecutive games over 100 yards. He rushed for 111 today against Indianapolis.
Peyton didn't make it today, though, so his streak is...
We got a report he rushed for 111, so we'll try to confirm that.
Look out.
Complete to Allen, right at the yardsticks. They're going to allow progress to the 43-yard line at Denver. About 7 yards, and might be close enough for a measurement. Dennis Smith made the hit.
I believe they're going to have to measure. Dick, let's finish out the little scenario on the playoffs. We talked about the fact that if you play out all the possibilities on the tiebreakers, if the Raiders were to lose today and win their final 2 games, they would be in the playoffs. However, Denver, on the other hand, if they lose today, they have to count on one of the 2 teams, or at least one of the teams in the AFC East crumbling and losing their remaining 2 games, because in the tiebreakers, they do not fare well.
So the head-to-head, that's where the Raiders have the advantage. A loss to Denver would be much more destructive than to the Raiders. The Raiders, indeed, if they win their last 2 games, are in the playoffs. They know that.
These, of course, are the tie-breaking procedures, and you notice the last one, which you'd hate to ever get down to, coin toss.
How about dartboard number 10?
And you know, these are only the tiebreakers for 2 teams. Now you have tiebreakers also for 3 teams, so it's a very complicated process. And if you're a trivia expert, you might enjoy sitting down and playing with the possibility.
Well, that's why we have Bob Costas and Ahmad Rashad. They'll have that all squared away for us. Wilson dumps it off to Allen, loses his balance. Just to straighten out the business with Walter Payton, because we don't want to alienate anyone, especially in Chicago. Walter Payton rushed for 111 yards today, so that is 9 consecutive games for Payton. The Raiders, as it is with most teams that have great backs, when they rush over 100 yards, their winning percentage is very high.
I mentioned earlier Marcus Allen as a candidate for MVP. In my heart, the other guy that I like is Walter Payton.
For the decade.
For the decade, absolutely.
Second down and long. Flag down. Allen finally hit by Foley at the Denver 39. Appeared to me that Andre Townsend, 61, jumped offside.
Townsend was offside. He got back once and then tried to guess with the count and came across the second time. There they started to motion it off against the wrong team.
Well, do you take the 8-yard gain or the 5 yards and save the down?
I think you save the down.
Offside, number 61. Repeat the down.
2 Townsends in the defensive lines, Andre and Townsend, of course, Bronco, and Greg Townsend on the other side for the Raiders. And I asked if the two were related, and Andre said, well, he said, we played against each other in college, and I asked him if we had relatives, and we tried to find them, but couldn't find a common bond. They look quite a bit alike physically. Both have great speed, and both are coming along within the defensive lines of their 2 teams.
Greg Townsend in his 3rd year from TCU, the Raider, and 61 Andre Townsend from University of Mississippi in his 2nd season. 2nd and 8. Look at Allen. 30, 20, and out of bounds at the 17-yard line. Marcus Allen with his longest run of the afternoon. And he's not going to relinquish the top spot in the NFL rushing derby easily, even though Gerald Riggs had 197 today.
Look at how quickly he gets outside with that burst of speed right there, finding the opening hole. Ken Woodard, 52, unable to contain on him, and Marcus gets everything he can before they finally bump him out of bounds.
125 today, and that pushes him over 1,500 yards for the year. At this moment, he is 23 yards behind Gerald Riggs for the #1 spot in the league. Frank Hawkins. And a lot of orange company. 5 minutes and 45 seconds remaining. The clock is running. A tie game at 14. The Raiders are in field goal range, and Chris Barr, he's as cool as the weather. Is that veteran?
He has not had, by his own standards, a great year, but he's a veteran kicker. He's not the kind to be rattled by a pressure kick.
And doesn't eat away at him when he does not do well.
Well, I don't know.
At least he hides it better.
He hides it pretty well. You can believe he's got some adrenaline pumping right now.
2nd down, 7. Intercepted again. Oh my, Wilson with the ball inside the 15. That's the 2nd time down on the goal line or near it. Wilson has coughed it up. It's Dennis Smith, his 3rd interception today. This man didn't have an interception all season. Smith with a hat trick against Wilson.
Wilson looking quickly outside. Had his eye on the receiver all the way. Hard to believe that he could not see Dennis Wilson standing between. He must just have hit that ball low. Dennis Smith, Dennis Smith, not Wilson. Wilson, another defensive back for the Broncos.
So Mark Wilson's 4th pass intercepted, and the drive is stopped with 5 minutes remaining. The Broncos from their own 21. He has had to pay for every yard he has rushed this afternoon.
You can see the frustration burning in the eyes of Mark Wilson. He's still angry at himself. 5 turnovers on the day, and all but one of those interceptions that he has thrown. The other one a fumble where he came out apparently too soon from the quarterback.
Night has fallen in this mile-high metropolis, and snow is falling. 14 all. 4 minutes 30 seconds left. The winner gets first place in the West in 10 and 4. Elway away from Howie Long. Cross field, Steve Watson. And he's down at the 39, but with it a first down for Denver and 16 yards.
Marcus Allen got his team in possession of an opportunity which they've squandered. Now Elway goes to work to try and get his offense down to where they can get a shot at some points. Nice play here. Dangerous pass cross field, but when you have a strong arm like Elway does, you have the confidence to go ahead and throw that kind of pass.
Watson and Sampson to the left. And time will be called by the Raiders with 3 minutes and 43 seconds remaining. The score is tied at 14. The Broncos have a first down at the 40.
Herb, no matter what you decide, you're still our little boy.
Grow up, Herb. With the help of Herb's parents, Burger King now appeals to Herb, the one man who's never tasted a Burger King burger. Herb, this is how great burgers are made. Flame-broiled, not fried.
Aren't you hungry for Burger King?
Of course you are. Herb, do what's good for you. Come to Burger King.
There's a word for someone who doesn't do what's good for them.
The word is Herb, Mother.
The pride is back, born in America. The pride is back, born in America.
Plymouth Reliant K. Front-wheel drive, 6-passenger room, 550 protection plan. Plymouth Reliant K, born in America.
The best is born in America. Again.
Now get 8.6 financing or $500 cash back on select Plymouth models.
Holiday greetings from Michelob.
Where you going, it's Michelob.
The NFL plays here when the Chiefs battle the Broncos.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL 85.
As expected, closely contested, Mark Wilson. He's muttering about those 5 interceptions. Actually 4 and a fumble, one of his own. First down, Elway at his own 40-yard line. Again, the roll away from pressure. Watson can't hang on. Closely covered by Mike Haynes. At the end of the first half, that foot had a chance to give the Broncos a 17-0 lead, a 35-yard attempt. Rich Carlos keeping that barefoot warm in the snow of Denver. Missed from 35 to the left, and it remained 14-0, and the Raiders immediately 2 touchdowns, third quarter to tie it up.
The defense of Rich Carlos, the snap on that particular field goal was not good. The timing was not good between snapper, holder, and kicker.
Second and 10 play. Almost looks like a quarterback draw.
Great move by Elway.
Dragged down by Sammy Seal, who played his college ball in this part of the country. Seal has been converted from wide receiver to defensive back. Went to Western Colorado State.
Elway smiling as he headed back to the huddle, I think because he was able to put a real fake on a tackler at the line of scrimmage and make him miss. Looked like a little of Marcus Allen's work there for a moment.
Third down and 5. Last year, 16-13, the Broncos won in Los Angeles. Then here, Denver beat the Raiders in overtime 22-19. This year, overtime, the Raiders 31-28 in Los Angeles, and they're tied in 14 with less than 3 minutes remaining this afternoon. On the blitz, the throw is to Sewell, knocked down shy of the first down at the 48. Rod Martin and James Davis with a hit, and the Broncos will have to punt the ball.
Gambling, pressure defense. Stacy Turan all over Elway. He's got a couple of sacks already on the day. He forced Elway to throw that ball before he was ready to throw it.
There's Turan, only his second year out of Notre Dame. Elway, a seasoned veteran in his third year from Stanford. Clock running 2:12, and I don't believe they have to punt it till a 2-minute warning. And the Raiders are not going to call a timeout. So 2 minutes remaining. The game is tied. First place in the West at stake in Denver, Colorado.
AT&T, the right choice. Miami must beat Houston to clinch the division title. Trailing 17-10, a Marino pass to Nat Moore ties it at 17. On third down with under 4 minutes left from the Oiler 5. Should the Dolphins go with a play-action pass or pitch out to a back? What would you do?
Do I hear 3,800? Santa Fe?
AT&T is in antiques. With AT&T Alliance Teleconferencing Service, an antique dealer can easily hold an auction with clients all over the country at the same time, as clear as if they're in the same room.
All right, Chicago, it's yours. Now,
another reason to choose AT&T long-distance services. Talk with us. AT&T, the right choice.
What did you decide? Instead of passing, Miami crosses up the Oiler defense by pitching to Tony Nathan. Nathan's clutch score secures the division title for Miami. The Dolphins made the right choice.
See the breadth of the athletes. Temperature down in the high 20s. Snow falling in Denver. 2 minutes remaining. Fulton Walker has had a sensational career in his 1 year with the Raiders.
He's had a great year, and as we mentioned, he's closing in on the record that the Raiders set with Greg Pruitt a couple of years back. Looked like he was not going to get any chances as the Denver Broncos were not punting early, but he's had a couple of fine returns here today.
Fulton Walker, will remember him for that kickoff return for a touchdown, the Super Bowl record. And Super Bowl 17 in the Rose Bowl as we look ahead to NBC's role in covering the playoffs. And of course, Super Bowl 20 in the Superdome in New Orleans.
It's worth saying again, Walker has done that after playing only 8 games. Missed the first 4 games of the season before he arrived in Los Angeles from Miami, and then did not play in an additional game.
Looks as if the Raiders are going to go after Chris Norman. They nearly blocked one earlier in the game. He gets it away. Toward the sidelines.
Bad kick.
Very
way
bad.
out.
That ball's going to be marked around the 25-yard line. Worse than that for Denver, 27. So Norman's problems continue, and the Raiders come up with good field position.
The kicking game, so crucial in a game like this. 24 yards on that kick. And let's go back to an attempt at a field goal just before the half. The snap, as you saw, was high and tight. That block that made it difficult for the timing between the holder and the kicker, and Carlos snapped that ball off to the left and missed the field goal that would have given them a 3-point edge in this ball game.
Rich Carlos hoping he gets another chance, but it's the Raiders who own the ball. Wilson complete to Todd Christensen at the 39. First down. 1 minute and 43 seconds left. The Raiders without a huddle.
Wilson quickly getting his troops back to the line of scrimmage. Calling an audible here.
Timeouts. The Raiders have 2 left. Broncos have all 3. Frank Hawkins, a rare target for a pass, and he's out to the 45, a gain of 5+. And Wilson will spend a timeout. 1 minute and 25 seconds left. And 1 timeout remaining for the Los Angeles Raiders. They have the ball in this 14 all-time.
This Honda Civic has been held up as the best value in a 4-door import. But now there's the 86 Colt DL. Same size engine, same front-wheel drive, same room for 5, but they're not the same. The Colt is less expensive by $870, flat. Colt, imported for Dodge and Plymouth, built by Mitsubishi in Japan. Colt, it's all the Japanese you need to know.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
I solved all my gift problems at Radio Shack's Christmas electronics sale. Got my son 2-way bass reflex speakers, half price for only $39.95 each. For my daughter, a cordless telephone, on sale $69.95. I got my wife a dual alarm clock radio, sale price $34.95. I even got myself a full-size solar calculator with memory, on sale only $8.88. Super sale.
A Christmas electronics sale only at Radio Shack.
Along with the score, 14 all, the vital numbers down to the last minute and a half. Second down and 5. Raiders with the ball at their own 45. Marcus Allen hit by Ken Woodard. What a defensive play by Woodard, the 4-year man out of Tuskegee Institute. 3rd and 5.
Ken Woodard, the leading tackler, certainly made his presence felt on that play.
Even though he's given away the starting job to the veteran Tom Jackson, he still leads in tackles. Big play. Wilson to Christensen. First down at the 44 of Denver. 10 yards, and the clock is running at 49 seconds.
Wilson pushing his people toward the line. He'll try and get an audible call. You see him yelling out to his troops on the sideline, and Barr warming himself up.
His longest this year, 49 yards last week. This one thrown up and out of play. As Rulon Jones with the pressure on Wilson. Clock stops. 34 seconds left.
Mark simply would not take the sack, and wisely so. Wants to at least get field goal position for an opportunity to put 3 on the board. If he can't, gets the touchdown.
A 49-yard field goal is basically a 32-yard line for the line of scrimmage. So that just gives you some bearing. 32-yard line is where the Raiders would like to get, or better, to give Barr a chance to win it. 2nd and 10. Patrick Boland, the enthusiastic owner of the Broncos.
It's going to be hard to hear the signals out there right now.
Dokie Williams covered by Lewis Wright, and Mark Wilson covered by Rulon Jones.
Second time in a row that Rulon Jones able to get around Big Davis. Davis on the outside, Bruce Davis, and jump on top of Mark Wilson.
There are a lot of great defensive ends in this league. Rulon Jones certainly has to get some Pro Bowl votes. Chris Barr, he's one course away from his law degree. 3rd and 10. 29 seconds. 1 timeout left. Christensen through his hands. A great throw by Wilson, and the usually reliable Todd Christensen let that one go right through his padded mitts.
We said it early. You go to the money men, and Christensen has been so reliable, and yet in a situation where they desperately need it, he dropped the football.
Boy, that would have been well into field goal range for Barr, and a terrific throw by Mark Wilson. 23 seconds left, and apparently now the Raiders to give up the football, and looks more and more as if we're going to have an extra period here in Denver, and that's just true to form to follow the last 3 games of these 2 teams.
These 2 teams have had 5 overtime games in between them on the season.
Bad kick by Guy. He really scuffed that one. And that's going to be pretty good field position with 17 seconds left for Denver. To the 25-yard line, only a 19-yard punt.
Well, what do you do?
I think if I'm a coach, I just say I'll wait for overtime, not get fancy here. Elway gets his instructions from Dan Reeves. We're pleased that you're with us throughout the United States and Canada for this dramatic battle.
One thing you don't want to do here is drop the football. You don't want to turn it over. They're going to go after it.
Clint Sampson. Boy, that's where you could fumble the ball and you're in field goal range the other way. Clock stopped with 10 seconds left. A 6-yard pass. That would have to come under the category of a gamble by Denver.
One of the things you have to admire about Reeves is he's willing to go after you. He's willing to gamble it all.
Yeah. Christensen, who likes to write poetry. Maybe a nasty verse for the 4th quarter today. Barr saying, hey, took the pressure off me, big guy. I'll wait till overtime. Meanwhile, Rich Carlos, you never know. Somehow it always seems such an incredible contradiction. If you were to invite a friend from outer space to their first game and say, the game is football, and it started because the foot and the ball, and then you see a guy in the snow with a bare foot trying to win the game.
And it's getting colder here, and I'm sure that foot is getting colder. One of the reasons I'm sure he's kicking is to try and keep it warm, because even if he doesn't have a field goal opportunity, he may well be called upon to kick off if Denver loses the toss.
It's a pretty good statistic I saw this week on, and coaches complain about the toss of the coin, say it gives the team that wins the toss such an advantage, but it's almost 500 whether you win or lose the toss as to who wins in overtime. So it isn't a significant correlation.
If you have the choice, though,
you'll take the pumpkin.
You want the pumpkin. You want it in your hands.
Well, it looks as if they're going to gamble on another desperation pass with 10 seconds left. No, a little handoff to Winder. 35, 40, 45, 47. 3 seconds left. Timeout, Denver.
I think what we'll see now will be 3 wide receivers, or 4 perhaps, on the same side. They'll throw that Big Ben pass and try and force a penalty. If they can get a penalty on the defense and they're far enough down the field, Carlos may get his opportunity.
Well, there's one other option. If they can fly Ahmad Rashad in here, because he was the guy who always seemed to be where the ball was when it was knocked around 10 times. He's tried 5 times from outside. 50 yards has Carlos unsuccessfully this year. In fact, his longest as a pro is 50 yards, which means the line of scrimmage about the 35. And it's currently back at the Denver 47.
A frustrating afternoon for these two teams to go all the way to the end of regulation time and still have it knotted up. You got to keep going.
You know what? You always think about somebody winning in overtime. How about a tie, and how would that impact?
It would actually help both teams, Dick, because that would allow them to gain an edge on the AFC teams. They'd still have to keep winning, but it would be to the benefit of both Denver and the Raiders. The Raiders would get the biggest boost because they would be ahead of Denver in the head-to-head race.
Let's check on that Seattle-Cleveland score, too, as that has some import here. A tie might boost the Seahawks' thinner hopes. Elway goes for it all. He's got the arm. A crowd. It's bobbled around and dropped at the 5-yard line. And we go into overtime. No flags. It's tied at 14. We'll go an extra 15-minute period. And we'll wait right here to get the toss of the coin to see who will get the football first.
As we thought it would happen, the 3 wide receivers here. And again, what you're hoping for is the ball to get batted around, someone pick it off after it bounces, or a penalty on the defense. Neither of which happened, although the ball does bounce. It doesn't bounce into a Broncos' hands.
14 all. There's the information. I would have thought the team winning the toss would have a sizable advantage. They only have a 3-win lead over the team that loses the toss, so it is not as significant as one might think. There's Dave Dolby. He's playing in his 203rd consecutive game. We said earlier Bonnie Chavis is going out now for the coin toss. Has set a Denver record. This is his 180th game. And let's eavesdrop on the toss of the coin.
Call the coin. Call it, please, in the air. Call it. Head. It is a tail.
The Broncos will get the first opportunity into overtime in Denver, tied at 14.
Tomorrow night's TV bloopers are the wildest ever, with a tall practical joke on Joan Van Ark and pro basketball bloopers that'll knock your socks off.
Place a new unwrapped toy in the hands of a needy child. Support WNBC TV and the Marine Corps Reserve's Toys for Tots program. Call 212-755-7846.
Casio presents the Johnson 5. Rick Johnson on drums. Johnson on bass. On guitar. On piano. Rick Johnson on trumpet. In other words, Rick Johnson on a Casio MT100. With a graphic equalizer, built-in rhythms, and one-finger Casio chord, it's easy to play. And it's battery-powered so you can take it on the road. Casio keyboards for the Johnson 5, the Smith 5.
When the good cooks at Campbell set out to make a new dry soup mix, they did it in that Campbell tradition of quality that goes back to 1869. That's why they put in all that good stuff, like golden egg noodles and more noodles, tender all-white meat chicken, and more chicken. So you get that homemade taste in every box. Introducing Campbell's Dry Soup Mixes. More homemade taste from the good cooks at Campbell.
Christmas in Rockefeller Center, Monday at 7:30.
The Raiders lost in San Diego 40-35 in overtime and beat Denver a couple of weeks ago in the Coliseum 31-28. It's tied at 14. 3-minute intermission. Meanwhile, up in Seattle, the score, the Seahawks 31, Cleveland 13. That's with just less than 3 minutes left. So apparently Seattle will go 8-6 and the Browns will drop back to 7-7. You see Denver and Dan Reeves, fourth overtime this year for Reeves. He's going to get old in a hurry, this young man.
One of those overtime wins came over the San Diego Chargers, a game in which Dennis Smith, who's had such a big day today, blocked 2 consecutive field goals, and one of those picked up by Louis Wright, carried all the way back for a touchdown.
That was with Bob Thomas trying to hit a field goal that would have won it for the Chargers in overtime. Smith picked up the blocked field goal and raced for a touchdown and a miracle win for Denver. And later tonight, it's Pittsburgh at San Diego, and the Steelers 6-7, losers to Denver last week at home. With a win, will tie it up. It'll be a 3-way tie in the Central. But right now, the focus on the AFC West. In case you just joined us, all 3 leading teams in the East, Miami, New England, the Jets, all won today. They're 10-4. The winner here will go 10-4 as Denver and the Los Angeles Raiders tied for first in the West. Boy, the competitiveness of especially the 3 divisional races in the AFC. Barr roots it deep. They won't return that one, I don't believe. Broncos will start from their 20-yard line. We'd like to remind all of you that following our football coverage, if possible, we'll join the Punky Brewster program in progress. In addition, all remaining NBC Network evening programs will be seen over most of these stations except for Pacific Time Zone and some Mountain Time Zone stations where the programs will be seen at their regular times. A big lineup on Sunday night with Final Jeopardy, the NBC Sunday night movie. The finale at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Caught in his own backfield, right into the arms of Bill Pickell. The 3-year man from Rutgers, right there to grab Lang for a couple of yards, not Lang, but Winder for a 2-yard loss. The late games being played, Seattle in the final minutes apparently to beat Cleveland. The Giants apparently will win at Houston, and they benefit from the Dallas loss today in Minnesota, 19-7 over Tampa Bay in the 4th. Giants would move into a tie with Dallas 9-5 atop the East with that victory at Houston. Elway in trouble. Just does get it off to Sewell, incomplete, and Howie Long on Elway. Now we have a moment. 3rd down and long. The other finals today, the Bears who clinched a long time ago that Central Division NFC. New England a winner. Washington still in the race, 17-12. Miami from behind to win at Green Bay. The Jets 27-7 at Buffalo. Dallas surprised at Cincinnati. The Bengals roaring 50-24. The Cardinals beat New Orleans. And it was Kansas City 38, Atlanta 10. The Chiefs will be here to play Denver next Saturday. That'll be seen the full NBC network Saturday afternoon. 3rd down and 12 from his 18, and Elway calls time. Timeout in overtime. We've played 51 seconds of the overtime period, a 14-all tie.
In the past, you saw a big Ford 4x4 pickup carry a Chevy pickup up this monster mountain of boulders. But now we're going to top ourselves by carrying a Chevy and towing a Dodge pickup up the same mountain. Because this year, Ford has the most powerful lineup of V8 engines.
And 12, you have to think about the possible punt from deep in Denver's own end, and Norman from the University of South Carolina has not kicked well the last 4 games.
He did get one good kickoff today, one that rolled for 55 yards, but even with a 55-yarder, his average today is only 42. And the problem he's had is that very often he's been line driving the ball. Now he's kicking to Fulton Walker, or if they can't get big yardage here, he will be kicking to Fulton Walker. And you better believe there are some interesting thoughts going through his head right now.
Biggest game of the year, both teams admitting that coming in. Yesterday, even in a loose practice, even the fun was intense for the Broncos. And the Raiders this morning, nobody slept in.
They were all there early, bright and early, and bushy-tailed.
Shotgun, 3rd and 12. Stunt. Elway spinning out. Gunning, complete. Oh, Johnson drops the ball. That would have been a first down at the 35. The rookie Vance Johnson unable to hold on.
And just as Todd Christensen had dropped a crucial pass earlier, Vance Johnson, the young rookie who has come on so strong for these Broncos, drops enough yardage for the first down. Elway gunning the football to him, has it in his arms, but he couldn't handle it.
Buried it right in his chest. So here's Norman to punt. He'll kick it from around his own 8-yard line with Fulton Walker dangerous to return at the Raider 41. Wobbly. 43, 45, 50, 47-yard line, 46 goes Fulton Walker, and the Raiders begin on Denver's half of the field. Well, Denver, I guess it's part of their heritage. First overtime was in '74 involving the Broncos and Pittsburgh, and they played to a tie.
As you see that snow falling, it's not hard to figure that for all the skill positions, as you get colder, it gets more difficult to handle that football. Not impossible to see or think about a fumble here along the way.
39-yard punt, 13-yard return. Wilson starts from the Denver 45. Give it to Marcus Allen for a couple. Mecklenburg, Jones, and Wilson all in on the stop. Thomas Jackson there as well.
Mecklenburg has been in on a number of tackles today, but he has not had the impact day that he had last week with his 4 sacks and 2 forced fumbles, and you've got to credit this Raider offense for being able to contain him.
That's a new Raider record, 325 carries for Marcus Allen, whose yardage this year over 1,500 yards, also a Raider record. Broke Mark Van Egan's mark. Wilson. Dokie Williams, no. He trapped the ball. Dokie Williams, who came into this game with 43 catches, has not caught one today. That's a surprising statistic.
He had that ball in his hands, but his feet slipped out from underneath it. He couldn't handle it. Watch right at the end of this play. Dokie comes back. You see that turf shooting out from underneath his feet? He just couldn't hang on with those boots in the ground and unable to handle a football.
3rd and 8, and the crowd comes back into the picture. It's never a good sign when a back comes up and says something to the quarterback as they break the huddle. And you saw Allen and Wilson conversing. There was some confusion.
I think he wanted Marcus Allen in that pattern, but Allen was forced to pick up a blitzing linebacker. And that made it difficult for Mark Wilson, who went downfield.
Here they come out of the huddle. Wilson setting his line, and then Marcus.
I think just asking in the snap count. You saw the quick bark. I think he just told him what the snap count was.
So despite good field position on the punt return, Guy has to punt it away. Aiming, and it looks as if it's a good kick. It's a dandy. It'll be inside the 10. No. Well, not as good as it appeared from this angle. 12-yard line. Well, 2 weeks to go. So what was it today? Of the 28 teams, 21 were still legitimately in the playoff fight. Well, here's our lineup. NFL 85, of course, the Saturday game, full network, will feature Kansas City here at Denver. Then on Sunday, starting 12:30 Eastern with NFL 85, you see those games early, and then Seattle and the Raiders on Sunday. The Raiders, well, it'll depend on what happens today. If they win, they have a 2-game lead on Seattle. If they lose, Seattle goes into the Coliseum only 1 behind Los Angeles, having beaten the Raiders in Seattle. Well, the wild card will still be a part of it.
And the drama continues.
First, the business here in the snow of overtime in Denver, and it's snowing harder. Elway, pressure, dumps it to Winder. Is that a completed pass? Yes! Oh, my. And fortunately, Winder kicked it out of bounds. That was a live ball.
Now they're going to question whether he had contained. The other official on the sideline asking him if he had possession of that football. Now they're saying no. And that's exactly what we talked about with the cold weather. The hands getting cold out there. It's getting harder to contain that football.
Oh, Elway rolling, will throw to Winder. And does Winder have possession? 1 step, 2 step, but he did not have control of the ball. Ball kicked out of bounds by the Raider defender. That's a good call. A correction made by the officials. Incomplete pass.
Producer Larry Cirillo and director Teddy Nathanson on top of that one. They picked it up for us.
They're the artists of this company. At the 12, 2nd and 10. From his goal line. Going long. Clint Sampson. And he was well covered by James Davis.
James Davis, for those of you who weren't here, on a play very similar to that, called for a penalty earlier in the game that set up one of the big drives for the Denver Broncos. He was not about to touch that receiver on that play, and even though Sampson fell down, he did it of his own accord.
Suppose there's any nepotism with the Raiders. Al Davis, there's 3 Davises: Mike Davis, Bruce Davis, James Davis, Clarence Davis of years past. Denver still pinned in deep. 12 minutes 42 seconds left in overtime. 3rd and 10. Good protection this time. The pass overthrown. Vance Johnson along the near sidelines.
Feeling the heat.
We welcome those of you who have been watching the game from the Kingdome in Seattle, where the Seahawks have defeated the Cleveland Browns. This is Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen at Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado. Starting in the 2nd half, we've had light snow. It's snowing harder now than at any time. It is not affecting play, however. The Raiders rallying from a 14-0 deficit in the 2nd half. 2 touchdowns in the 3rd quarter. Tying the game at 14, and we're in overtime. Each team has had a possession, unable to move the ball effectively. But now the Broncos, Chris Norman will have to kick from around his own goal line, and Fulton Walker waiting at midfield. The Raiders should get good field position out of it. It's a short kick to the 46. Walker breaking 1 tackle and stopped at the 43. That's only about a 1st down out of field goal range. 34-yard kick by Norman. And we don't often get a chance to credit all the folks that make these sports specials so exciting for you at home. Executive producer Mike Weissman is with us. Coordinating producer of our football coverage is Ted Nathanson. Today's production, Larry Cirillo, the head man with a whip, directed by Ted Nathanson. John J. Filippelli produces the NFL 85 show, and Bucky Gunts is the director back in New York City. Marcus Allen for 1. In case you are just joining us, Marcus Allen for the 7th consecutive game over the 100-yard mark. He has around 128 yards today. He relinquished his lead earlier today for the NFL rushing lead to Gerald Riggs, the fine back with the Atlanta Falcons. He's now only about 10 yards behind Riggs for the lead.
Defense is certainly dominating in the 4th quarter, and here in overtime, neither offense able to get anything going.
Wilson on the passing down. He's been intercepted 4 times today. That's Allen again, dragging orange jerseys with him to the 37, where it will be 3rd and 4. Tony Lilly, the first man there, and Chris Barr, the placement kicker for the Raiders. He won in overtime the game against the Broncos 2 weeks ago in Los Angeles.
He was very happy to have that chance. He'd missed a kick in the closing moments of the game that would have won for them, and then came back with one to actually win the ball game. But Dick, twice in a row, they've gone to Marcus Allen. They've gone to the game breaker. Let's see what they do on a 3rd down and 3.5.
Allen again. He doesn't get the first down. This would be, if they try a field goal, about 52 yards. And they're not going to attempt it. Ray Guy and the punting unit has started on the field.
Mark Wilson over to argue. I think he wanted to have a shot at it. He said, hey, we're not that far out. We can't gain that much by a punt. But their defense is playing so well that I think they want to turn it over to the defense. Count on Ray Guy, who's been kicking extremely well all year, to try and put it out inside the 10-yard line.
4th and 2 from the 35.
Would they try a fake punt here?
The up back is Hawkins.
Nope. Now going to go into the end zone. Yep.
Guy's not going to be happy with that. So for the Broncos, who have started deep in their own end, Elway has a little more breathing room. He gets to begin at the 20-yard line.
Well, I think Wilson at least would have liked another opportunity at it. They pick up, what, 20? Not even that much, Dick.
No, only, well, the line of scrimmage was the 30, only 10 yards. 15 yards. 15 yards on the punt.
And I think that's what Mark Wilson was trying to say to Tom Flores on the sideline.
You start to see some of the snow gathering on the grass surface here at Mile High Stadium. Elway is dropped for a loss, and he fumbles, and the Raiders have recovered. 93, Townsend. Greg Townsend falls on the fumble of Elway inside the 10.
Pressure on John Elway. They shook that ball loose. It looked like Big Bill Piquel from the inside getting a piece of that sack. And Townsend, who's been alert all day long on the outside, pounces on that football. And the Raiders have a wonderful opportunity here to finish it all.
And they're not going to waste any time. Chris Barr in the field goal unit is on. Barr will try a relatively short field goal. As you see the fumble again.
It was Howie Long on the sack. As Howie just drove right through the arms of one of the blockers. It looked like Paul Howard, number 60, blocking on him.
Denver calls time to try to cool off Barr's hopes. We'll be right back.
Tomorrow is taking shape at a company called TRW.
As you can see from the direction of the snow, the wind is with Barr. It's blowing toward the uprights. The fumble recovered at the 8-yard line. And Barr has been perfect from this range. Now, in the overtime game here in Denver, when San Diego went for a winning field goal, but it was from farther range, Dennis Smith was the man to watch with a block, and Smith went all the way for a Bronco touchdown.
Actually knocked it down. Louis Wright picked it up and went. He blocked 2 in a row, which was rather remarkable. And he is the finest athlete, they say, on this Bronco team. And I'm sure, but I'm also sure that Steve Wertmeyer, who coaches those special teams for the Raiders, has alerted all of the Raiders to his blocking ability as well.
As you look at it, Smith is lined up to the right. 26 yards for first place. The Raiders go home 10-4. First place in the West belongs to Tom Flores, silver and black.
And a sudden pall falls over this stadium full of proud Bronco fans who've got to be proud of the way Dan Reeves and his team fought today. But what a bitter way to have to lose it. A fumble and an immediate shot at a field goal.
Tom Flores. They polled 200 NFL players a year ago, and one of the questions, what team would you like to play for? And the team that was most often named, the Los Angeles Raiders. Tom Flory's team, they've been in the playoffs 14 of the last 18 years. They've won 3 Super Bowls in the last 9 years. And this field goal by Barr kindles hopes that they will have another big season at the close of this 85 year. Don't go away. We'll try to meet some of the stars of this game. NFL 85 will be back with all the scores. We'll try to get an interview for you after these messages from your local station.
A promotional fee has been paid to NBC by United Airlines. You're not just flying, you're flying the friendly skies.